The Sports Hub. When it comes to Boston sports, we're fans just like you. 98.5 The Sports Hub.
The Bills take the final kneel down in victory formation. They will play on. Meanwhile, the Patriots see the season come to an end. Eliminated in the wild card round by the 47-17 final, ending a 10-8 campaign. The Bills again to the divisional round, and the Patriots into the offseason with so much uncertainty surrounding so many of their longtime players.
With the third pick in the 2024 NFL Draft, the New England Patriots select Drake May, quarterback, North Carolina.
So it is the 21-year-old from North Carolina that is going to New England.
It's my great honor to introduce you all to the next head coach of the New England Patriots, Mike Vrabel.
Culture is going to be built on winning, a competitive spirit throughout our roster, throughout our players, and throughout our coaches and our staff, and the ability to put the team first and care about somebody other than yourself. I'm excited to do that. I'm excited to get to work. But everything and everyone in this building is going to understand and believe that their job is critically important for our success.
And this regular season will end with the Patriots in victory formation. Josh Dobbs to take the snap, and Drake May to be serenaded once again by this crowd in Foxborough with chants of MVP. The Patriots, division champs. They won't be the number one seed, it looks like, but they're bound for the playoffs in a matchup, it appears, with the Los Angeles Chargers.
Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. Welcome back.
Yes! Welcome back, Boston! The Patriots in the playoffs with a franchise quarterback. George Balekji, Andrew Callahan here on 98.5 Sports Hub with you guys from now through 5 p.m. 617-779-0985. The Patriots, AC, are in the playoffs with Drake May at home, mind you. First time we're going to see him in the postseason since 2021. First time at home since 2019 when Mike Vrabel left Gillette with a playoff win. Feels good, brother.
That's pre-COVID. I want that to sink in because it's a long day. We're going to have a lot of hype, a lot of excitement. I think this is going to be a great football game tonight. But to think of where we've been and where we've come from, and think about their last win at home in the playoffs. The Chargers had come in. They were not the number one seed that year either, and won anyway. They had the bye as a 2 seed come in, blow the doors off. There are some similarities here we can get into, but the bottom line is the New England Patriots are playing a football game today. And you just, I don't know, it feels like you can't say that enough, no matter where you were back then, because this is going to be a great day, great night.
What the standard is for sports in Boston is built on what the Patriots, what the Red Sox, the Celtics, the Bruins have accomplished, right, since 2000. But for the Patriots to go this long without a playoff appearance, and what makes it even more exciting today, Andrew, is that the last 2 seasons, we've seen how it unfolded. 4 wins each year. And then finally this season, exceeding all expectations, everyone knowing what Mike Vrabel's capable of. But to be to this point, the 2 seed, hosting a playoff game, everything he said at his introductory conference of what his goals are. And then you go back to what was their last home playoff win? The Chargers game. Then they beat the Chiefs in OT. They win a Super Bowl. That's their last playoff victory, is winning a Super Bowl with Tom Brady. That's pre-COVID. They've come a long way. Drake May, which everyone can say looks very legit, to say the least. But being
is the
at
MVP
home,
legit? Is that legit?
That's
for you?
still up in the air. Yeah. That one is still up in the air. I would say so. Other people would say no and give it to Matt Stafford. But we won't get into that.
Well, hold on. You said Boston sports is predicated, obviously, Patriots, Red Sox, Celtics, etc. If you put the Celtics winning the finals aside, which is a big day just to shove to the side, grant you that.
Oh, yeah.
Is this the biggest day in Boston sports since that last Super Bowl win? I would argue yes. And the only contender, you pick your Celtics playoff games, fine. The Red Sox going to the ALCS in 2021.
Yes.
That's it, man. February 2019. This is bigger than any day except for the Celtics raising the Larry O'Brien trophy, and we're here.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the stakes today with this game because of not just they're the Patriots and they had a good season. You have a new quarterback. You have a new coach who obviously came back. Like, all of the storylines here converging just means so much more here today on top of it's just playoff football.
It means more. This is the team. Drake May is the guy for this region, this city, this fan base. If you're a Boston sports fan, if you're only a Patriots fan, Drake May is the alpha and the omega of your existence. And that's what's big now is we've seen what he's done in the regular season. And obviously, Andrew, you do a great job covering the team for the Boston Herald and everything you do on the podcast you host, more than I can name. Plug them real quick, please.
Well, it's Pat's interference, and now I'm going to have to slip you more than a 20 for saying that. But look, can I ask you something, too? Because I get so into the weeds, as you mentioned this,
okay.
And I know we keep going back and forth. What is this game about to you? And what I mean by that is when I sit down at the start of weeks down at Gillette, right? They're playing the Dolphins last week. What is this game about? Okay, you're pushing for the 1 seed. Should you rest starters? Mm-hmm. What are your matchups? What are the injury situations? Like, that's what that week was about. This is obviously about winning a playoff game to continue taking steps towards the Super Bowl. Fine. But let's say, in a vacuum, they win this game. What does that mean for, as you just described him, the new alpha and omega in Drake May? What does this mean for his boss in Mike Vrabel? And because this is legacy time, and as much as you can pack into one game, the starting point of something is so critical to the storytelling of everything that follows after. You think about Tom Brady's first season as a starter. They win the Super Bowl. That clutch drive at the end. That shaped how we saw him for the rest of his career. What today is most appealing to you about what this game is going to come down to, and tell us?
This is a good Chargers defense. That is a great head coach that will be on the sideline for LA. That is a very good quarterback to play in Justin Herbert. And you can have your critiques of him in the past postseason. He's dealt with a really bad hand of head coaching candidates. If the Patriots win today, what this means for Drake May is what we've seen from these past 17 games of him as a starter, being in the MVP conversation, but his jump as a caliber of a player, what really matters is, at the end of the day, what you do in the postseason. The stage is bigger. Let's not overlook, this is going to be Sunday Night Football, 8:15 kickoff against the Chargers and Justin Herbert at home. That pressure is different. That crowd, that fan base will be on top of Drake May and the Patriots. With that pressure, he wins in this one, it shows that next step. You can make the flashy throws. You can have the clutch drives, right? You can play well here. You can use your legs. You can lead the team. You can have the post-game speeches. What matters is what you do in the postseason if you win your way to rings. And when the lights get brighter, does he elevate or does he shrink? Drake May wins tonight. That's the first step, because you got to do it again, and you got to do it the year after that. But that's what it shows of, I believe in him. If I would put my life savings into Drake May if it was a stock, I would. But you can't. But not everyone sees that in him yet. And I think what Boston fans would love to, Andrew, the haters would be absolutely besides themselves and sick. Again?
Bad day for the haters.
Brady left. He's retired. They had Mac. He sucked. And now they got a guy again. That's what it would mean too.
How about this? What you just laid out as far as what this means for Drake May and who he is. Just ask Justin Herbert what it would mean to him to get a playoff win. Because think about the situation he's in. The Chargers are a well-coached, quarterback-driven team that has been bit by the injury bug that took out like chunks of their roster this year and his offensive line. And we all know Justin Herbert's good. We know he's really good. Top 6, 8, whatever, 10, doesn't matter. But if Drake May wins tonight, he's got something in his second year at 23 years old that Justin Herbert doesn't. Herbert was drafted in 2000. Or excuse me, 2020. 2020. Can you imagine? Point is, that's a great quarterback, but there are great quarterbacks, as you said, that win in the postseason. And what that does is not just, okay, legacy, talk on sports radio, whatever. What this means is the belief in your teammates. And how about your future teammates, guys who are free agents and want to come here? The selling point is like, okay, Herbert's good and the weather's nice in L.A. You get this win if you're Drake May, as you said, in this primetime spot against a really great quarterback. This is who you are now. You get to choose and write your own story here as far as how good you are and who you will be next. Because when you lose that power. You give up the pen to people like you and me, to your opponents, to everyone else who gets to tell the story as a victor and as an observer. You win. You get to tell us what you're about because you've shown us you're good enough in the postseason to win.
And with the Justin Herbert, I love how you word that of ask him what a playoff win would mean. That's a guy that's trying to brush that 4-interception game off of him too, because that's the last time he's been on the postseason stage. And it also shows like these opportunities, they don't come often, because as good as Justin Herbert has been, he has 2 playoff appearances to his name. You have the head coach for the Patriots in line, and Mike Vrabel. He's not going anywhere for a long time, so it seems. You have the franchise quarterback, so it seems. You have the building blocks, and this is a team that's way ahead of schedule for what anyone expected. They'll get better. Mike Vrabel will improve the culture. They'll win games. 2 seed, 11 wins. I'm sorry, what? Hosting a playoff game? Like, at this point, with how bad they were last year, and I think the last part of what you touched on, because how many times do we see it in the pursuit of elite pass catchers or free agents in general? Well, they went here because the quarterback. Well, they went there because they're ready to win. Drake May, if he wins, that's gravity. He's a magnet for serious players that, hey, AC, by the way, will deal with Massachusetts. Will deal with living in Walpole instead of South Beach. Will deal with not the best nightlife because they will be in Foxborough playing in playoff games and winning divisions and being a contender. That's what this can do too, where you're going to pay for free agents, but they'll want to be here. You don't become a pawn to get more money elsewhere. You become the destination.
I just want to say good job by us by putting as much pressure as possible on Drake May tonight with the stakes this playoff game. Hey, your whole free agency, by the way, this is up to you now. Your legacy, up to you. Your head coach's legacy, who this team is, who you could be, up to you. Speaking of that head coach,
he can't even rent a car yet. He's not 26.
I mean, if he showed up at Logan and said, give me your most expensive car and I'm putting 0 cents down, or here's a penny, they're going, pick the car you would like, Mr. May.
Yes.
And keep it. They would say, you can keep the car that we rent to everyone else for big money. All yours. Speaking of the head coach, though, because, I talk about when I go into a week down at Gillette and think about what is this game about? What is this week about? What should I be writing about here? Mike Vrabel, to me, is where I landed this week because I look at the Chargers and people around here want to poo-poo them and others, have a little bit more respect. The thing you all agree about with the Chargers is that because they're a Jim Harbaugh coach team, you have to knock them out. This is a tough team. This is a physical team. This is a fundamentally sound team. Those teams you have to beat before you beat yourselves. And what does Mike Vrabel pride himself on with this program? Who the Patriots want to be. We're tough. We're physical. We're fundamentally sound. We don't miss tackles. We don't turn the ball over. If the Patriots are right about who they are with their identity in year one, they should be able to beat a lesser Chargers team, even though they're in year 2 of Harbaugh's program, because you're more talented right now, given the Chargers' injuries. Mm-hmm. You're at home. And frankly, everything that we've seen from Drake May should be enough to get you over the top. If the Chargers beat you, we know how they're going to do it. It's the same way that all 53 of their fans could tell you they've won games this year. They out-toughed you up front. Herbert made some plays, and they played good defense. Mm-hmm. You got the quarterback to match. You can play sound physically, and you can exploit this defense if you hit the right buttons and pull the right levers, which we'll get into in the game plans and everything later on. To me, that's what I landed about. If the Patriots are right about who they are, they win this game. If not, there's some of the hesitation that I think we've even seen from Mike Vrabel going, the Chargers are built for the postseason, right? He said this on Monday. Hey, what about your team? I think we're getting there. There's something holding him back. If they win tonight, though, there should be nothing holding anyone back attached to this team and what it could do this year and beyond. Being
down there for the week that you were, did it feel different? Because you've then been there week 1, right? The Mike Vrabel debut. You've been there in the middle of their win streak where they're just running past everybody, toughing out some wins. Now it's the playoffs. Now the heat's turned up. There are expectations. They're at home. You notice any difference? Vrabel, maybe the players?
There's a little bit more, I don't want to say focus, because that always suggests, right, that they're not focused during the regular season.
Well done.
But there's a looseness and an understanding that when they're in the building, these minutes matter more than any other minutes they've spent there yet, right? And that kind of comes with the playoffs. But you don't know when I think it's about 35 of the players in the roster never been to the playoffs before. There's enough, though, experience from the coaching staff and other veterans in that team to say, hey, this is what this is about. What we're going to walk into is something you've never felt before. So you need to prepare. And I think that balance of the looseness that I talk about, which has been a staple of the program, and not just because they've been winning, but also that ability to lock in, both of those were prevalent this week. And honestly, it's exactly what you would want from your team, right? Like, we're locked in, but we're not so rigid and stiff that if we screw up on the first drive and Drake May has a strip sack, like we break right then and there.
That's what I want to see is what will the perseverance be of this team. Like, it's not going to be pretty. Like, that's the thing. I was looking at ESPN right before we went on air, and they had their pregame show on, and it was Rex Ryan, Teddy Bruschi, Alex Smith, whoever else. All across, flying Elvises. 5 for 5, flying Elvises. Did I know what they were saying? Could I hear it? No.
Don't like that.
That's always something, too.
Don't love that.
And we'll get to that. We'll take a quick break here on 98.5. Andrew Callahan, George Balekji. When we get back, what are the X factors? What are our picks? Call in as well. 617-779-0985. Be right back after the short break.
Boston's home for sports. 98.5. Celtics, the Patriots, the Sox, the Revs, and you. We're Boston's home for sports. 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Yes. Back on 98.5 The Sports Hub. Andrew Callahan, George Balekji, taking you guys from now until 5 p.m. The pregame for the Patriots game today. Home playoff game, AC. I just want to keep saying that out loud. It doesn't feel real yet.
It's just nice. It's nice to finally be here. Two things. Number one, that voice that we heard before we got bumped in of the talks like this coming up. Every time it's customized where it's not just like 98.5 The Sports Hub, like he does an update. May versus Herbert coming up Sunday, January, 11th. I think of this like poor person stuck in a basement like Sloth from the Goonies, and that they just hand him a mic and ask him to record because it's just automatic and it's just on call for anything that you could possibly want. And I feel bad. In a way, I probably shouldn't because he's well compensated.
I was going to say.
But it just, every single time when it's not the same thing you've heard 100 times over, right?
Yes.
The same commercial, and they change the lines, and you're like, what is this? What's happening? I'm disoriented. I hope he's okay, is my point. Number two, we were talking about this before the show. This is a big question on the biggest Boston sports day, aside from the Celtics winning the title. We're going on 7 years now since the Patriots' last Super Bowl win. You can answer this better than I can because this is more work for me. Is playoff football better than sex?
What?
Is playoff football something you just waited for 4 years in New England?
Okay.
And if they win, it'll be their first win in 7 years.
Okay.
Better than sex.
Something I'm still waiting to happen at 32 years old.
You'll get there. 6 Super Bowls before 1 sex, huh?
Yeah. That's and you have a kid, so you can confirm on this report.
Well, we can set all
what
my
is
family
better than
listening
the other.
aside from this. But look, we all understand the lead up and the excitement about playoff football. And if you ask a Bears fan today, is playoff football better than sex?
Okay.
The poll is coming back 100% yes out of Chicago. There is
right.
no dissent given
You're
what
right.
they just did last night. You ask a Panthers fan up until the last 2.5 minutes of that game, is this better than sex? They're all saying yes. I don't know, aside from illicit street drugs, what you're going to have beside playoff football, that the answer is yes. And here we are in New England again.
Ask an Eagles fan before 2017. So short story as I try to filibuster so I can give you an answer because holy cow, what a question. 2014, Malcolm Butler picks off that interception at the goal line. Patriots win, right? I'm in college at the time. Jumping into my fellow Patriots friends' arms. Went Seton Hall, Connecticut, Massachusetts, Jersey, a good melting pot. As we're celebrating, my buddy in the corner who's an Eagles fan goes, I will never know that feeling. He was an Eagles fan. It was 2014. So people could hear what you're talking about, the two options, sex, winning a playoff game. Maybe they don't know either feeling. If you're in Chicago, they're going to go with option one, sex. No, excuse me, playoff football. Wow. In New England, the way I look at this, playoff football, when it's bad, it's not great. But when it's good, best feeling in the world. You can say that about the other option. I'm interested to hear what other people have to say on this one. 617-779-0985. There were, right before we came back, I go to Andrew. I go, hey, so let's dive in what your X factors are and what your key matchup is. He goes, yeah, sounds good. I just have to say something quick. I'm like, yeah, sure, man. Your AC, you're a consummate professional. And you throw that
You still
on
believe that? Yeah.
I've known you a long time. All the talks we've had in the media room down at Gillette.
I mean, come on. It's just, you waited this long. You waited 4 years for this. And honestly, the last time it happened, you wanted it to stop before it was over in Buffalo. They didn't punt. That's how that went, okay? Do you want to go another 7 years without this? Because this feeling's pretty sweet.
Are you going to be in the corner crying, taking a sad shower after? Or are you going to be elated, texting all your boys saying, yo, that was awesome. I can't wait for it to happen again.
It's a tough one. Let's dive into the actual football, though. Because, look, I just talked about if the Patriots win, this is about their identity. They're right about who they are. Drake May, you're a made guy at 23, winning a playoff game against another quarterback who's just as good as you. There are some smaller battlegrounds here, though, that don't involve May and don't even involve Herbert that I think could really swing this game. And I published a story this morning that I worked on all week about how the Patriots offense has changed since their bye week, which was about 4 or 5 weeks ago. So in those 4 games, what the Patriots have done is played through jumbo personnel, meaning with 6 offensive linemen, on almost 1/4 of their snaps.
That's insane.
Would you care to guess what percentage of their snaps they played with 6 offensive linemen before the bye?
Before the bye.
Before the bye. So now it's been about 23% the last 4 games.
Okay.
Bills, Ravens, Jets, Dolphins. Before then, though, what percentage were they playing with 6 offensive linemen?
6%.
2.8%. So you have this almost 10x jump with jumbo personnel. Why did they do this? Well, their run game stunk.
Will Campbell goes down.
I don't even think it's that, because Will Campbell, with the run game, was ranked 30th in success rate,
Okay, fair.
30th in EPA per play going into the bye. What do we know about the playoffs? Even though we haven't been here in a while,
You got to run the
we
football.
haven't taken anyone home in even longer.
You got to control the clock. You got to beat them. It's going to get cold. It'll be 32 degrees. No rain tonight, but it'll be 32 degrees at kickoff.
And
you got a dome team coming in.
Even when you have, as we did for 20 years, 20 great years,
Superman.
Tom Brady.
Yep.
The Patriots know you still have to run the football, because the last time they did this, meaning late season, we need to run the ball, this is who we're going to be if we're going to survive and win another Super Bowl, was 2018. When, lo and behold, their first playoff game had the Chargers here at Gillette Stadium. And what did they do? Sony Michel rumbles for something like 150. He scores 3 touchdowns. They go in, control the clock. It's a shootout in Kansas City. But then Sony Michel has the only touchdown in the Super Bowl, the lowest scoring ever, when they win and beat the Rams. So what's happened now is not just that they're playing through more jumbo personnel, because they'll also do it. Not just like, hey, we're playing goal line offense at the 40. Okay, cool. Thank you, is what the defense would say. They're doing 3 receivers and a tight end, except for that tight end, just Thayer Bunford, who's the 6th offensive lineman. And so you can't really get a beat on what they're going to do there, because that would tell you run, but you also have 3 receivers. And you're really not sacrificing much of a receiving threat when you put in Munford over, let's say, Hunter Henry, even though you're probably not going to throw it to Thayer. But the bump you get from running the ball in that situation is much bigger. So here's what's happened since then. They have the 2nd most rushing yards in football. They're averaging from these personnel groupings 8.3 yards per carry.
That's insane.
With 7 touchdowns. So why do I bring this up aside from it's really worked well? Well, the Chargers defense is built in a way that says, oh, you want to run the ball? It's cool. We're going to hang out in nickel personnel with 5 defensive backs the whole time. Maybe a little bit of dime. Oddly enough, what happened 7 years ago? And they got stubborn and they got killed. They don't play base a whole lot with your traditional 3-4. They've got a 3-4 structure in there, but it's lighter personnel. When the Patriots go big tonight, this is my X factor. What happens? Because if the Chargers make their bet of you can get 4 yards and 4 yards and 4 yards, and that'll be fine, but you're going to get bored or inefficient, and the Patriots prove them wrong with, let's not even say they get 8 yards a carry out of jumbo. Let's say they get 6. Do the Chargers blink first? Or do the Patriots blink going, we only got 3 yards and we got 2, or we got 5, but then we got stuffed? Is this worth it? Can we keep making this bet against Justin Herbert with this jumbo personnel? Whomever can force the other to play left-handed on early downs, when the Patriots go big and the Chargers don't want to match, that to me is going to tell as much of the story about the Patriots offense as Drake May.
Who was the offensive coordinator when they made that adjustment, Sony Michel?
Josh McDaniels.
Who's the offensive play caller coordinator this season?
Josh McDaniels.
That's when it matters. That's where this comes full circle on what they did all off season long. And the best thing that the Crafts did is they let go. They gave it to Mike Vrabel. Now, Josh McDaniels was their pick, and you can dispute this. You're in the know, AC. Mike Vrabel wanted Thomas Brown, from what we all understand has been reported. Again, AC, cut me off.
Tommy Rees.
He wanted Tommy Rees. Thank God they went Thomas Brown and Josh McDaniels instead. The Crafts wanted Josh McDaniels. That's fine. They got their head coach. They got their offensive coordinator. The way they built the rest of the offensive staff, all the former head coaches in the assistant coach positions, position coaches and their spots, even Riley Larkin coming off of that Chip Kelly Ohio State coaching tree and what they did. Even Ashton, what's his last name?
Ashton Grant.
Thank you. Coming from Kevin Stefanski. Run the ball. Play action, quarterback's best friend, set him up for success. But Josh McDaniels is the OC. He's a quarterback's coach. He's a wide receivers coach. He does it all because he is a genius. That's what it ties back to. And you're right. I love that you point that out. And great job breaking that down. Again, guys, he did Venmo me $50 during the break. But if you're not following Andrew Callahan on all his platforms, you are not being the most informed Patriots fan you can be.
Okay, if the goal is to make Andrew Callahan as uncomfortable as possible in the first 30 minutes, you guys are doing a really good job.
What did you just do to me 5 minutes ago with that question? So I'm
about to come back to it. at the end of this segment real quick, because we talk about people in Chicago right now who choose playoff football over sex 100 out of 100 times. Anyone who paid more than $300 to go to this Patriots game tonight at Gillette is also saying yes. So
yes,
there's that settled. But the point about McDaniels, look, I don't think he's a genius. What he's done, though, is become more adaptable.
Yes.
And more open to input, which isn't to say he was like Belichick at the end, where he's not really listening to anybody. He's going to do what he does. But the input he's getting is from more systems and more approaches and even teaching methods, which is probably the most underrated part of coaching. It's not just what the plays are. How are you going to use the players? Mm-hmm. How do you convey what you're trying to tell them in the classroom in a limited amount of time? Because the reason the Patriots offense collapsed under the weight of its own complexity late in McDaniels' tenure was because they couldn't get it through to the players. All those young receivers, yeah, it was partly Brady being very particular. It was just too much. It was too complex. Thomas Brown, Todd Downing have pared that down, and it's been better. But to the point about Jumbo, look, this is definitely a league-wide trend. Like, snaps with 6 offensive linemen across the league are up almost 100%. Steelers do it more. The Texans do it more. There are ties to both those teams that the Patriots can go, neato, we should probably do that. To me, though, you can't ask Drake May and Drake May alone, as good as he's been, to win 3 straight playoff games in his first postseason trip against good defenses. You need to take some pressure off of him.
Balance.
And this is one of their biggest release valves for him that they're going to go to. Mind you, they've yet to throw a pass off play action to an offensive lineman from many of this jumbo sets.
And that's called the
And
tease.
I think that might be coming as soon as tonight.
I think Andrew Callahan's calling a shot. Let's get to the phone line, 617-779-0985. All right, AC, you asked for it. Let's go to Jeff in Londonderry. He has something to say about your question. Jeff, what's up, brother?
Hey, fellas, listen, I'm not a Don Juan here, but I want to know what the correlation between those who answer football over sex is with likelihood of having sex.
Jeff,
because
what's your
this seems to be a
answer for
fallacy. Now, I think that sex is better than playoff football. I mean, I would take sex after a good victory, or even sorrowful loss, post-loss sex. That would be great too. I mean, a good playoff football game might be better than a great day skiing, but I think this is like anthropologically a fallacy of a question.
Okay, this has nothing to do with anthropology, and a good day skiing is not better than a whole lot of things. So that's we'll set that to the side. This is 3 hours of the best football you're going to have all year that you wait for every single year. And
So
in the cases
you
in
think-
New England, you wait 7 years. The Jaguars, by the way, as we wait to see who the Patriots could play, and if the Jaguars win and the Patriots win, it's going to be Jacksonville. There's a whole stadium of people, Jeff, that just disagree with you because Jacksonville just took a 7-3 lead over the Bills. They're all picking playoff football. And I don't think you're crazy to do that. Now, you can say whatever that means about me, but the particular high that you get from watching this type of sport for 3 hours, and if you keep playing and you're good at it, the longer it goes, everyone ends with a ring anyway, It's pretty good.
It's a high you could have for 3 hours on a Sunday night, right? Watching the Patriots take on the Chargers. It's a high you could have for like 30 seconds on a Tuesday as well. Let's get to Eric from Revere. Eric, what's up, man? What you got on Josh McDaniels' offense?
How are you guys? I don't know how I could follow up the last call, but that's okay. I think that he's running one of the 2012 season's offense. I don't want to say too loud in case somebody's listening and might want to look at that tape.
Only all of the Chargers defensive staff hanging in the hotel. They've got me and George on the dial and you. So just be very, very careful, Eric.
No, right. No, I really think that Josh is running that 2012 offense. I mean, if you guys pay attention, a couple of the plays that he did last week, specifically the one that he did with Amendola, they're running some of that stuff, So if anybody's smart enough, they'll kind of like study some of the tape from that era. Even the formations, if you guys noticed, they do a lot of that, trick pony stuff, flea flickers. I mean, classic Josh McDaniels, right? I just wanted to hear what you guys think about it.
Awesome. Thanks for the call, Eric. AC, what do you say?
2012 is a long time ago. That was a great offense, and maybe he meant 2014, and we're talking about double passes and the Ravens and other big games, whatever it might be. I'm not here to pick on the particulars. I'll just say, though, that do your best to set aside for whom was the trigger man, right? Tom Brady, greatest of all time. This offense is a better offense than that. It's more diverse. Mm-hmm. I think it suits its personnel exceptionally well, and it's a different game here, but again, there's a reason the Patriots had the best passing offense in the league, despite not having one of the best collection of passing talents and receiving cores, and certainly not offensive lines across the league. It's a lot to do with scheme and, yes, the schedule. But McDaniels is a much better coach than he was 13 years ago. And so are the rest of the coaches on this staff. What they've done all together is better than it was Josh and a lot of other Bill acolytes kind of coming together with a lot of the same ideas, even if they were among the more creative offenses then. So I don't see a lot of 2012, and I get the point. But look, they still can pull from that stuff when they want to. That point is salient to me.
It all depends on like how you look at it. The way I see 2012, 2014, pick your Josh McDaniels year, is what you said before we had those two callers, Andrew, is his adaptability, his ability to actually open his ears, collaborate with his coaching staff. Because I remember before the season, Josh McDaniels was saying, and McDaniels in media availability, he'll talk and he'll talk and he'll talk. And he'll say a lot of stuff for 5 minutes and maybe like 10 seconds is actually substance. But what he said a lot was he's keeping his ears open and he's listening to someone as Thomas Brown, who comes from a Sean McVay background, who's been in a similar system and going, hey, the way you're wording this will make it easier for the players to understand. He knows how to take lesser than players and bring the best out of them. And that's what he's been doing this season.
Yeah, and there's a lot more to it. And I talk about the jumbo stuff. Part of that is to ensure that you're not in third and long against a defense that's top 5, and meaning the Chargers, on third down. Because they will be, as McDaniel said this week, in the 10 seconds of substance, as you put it, as complicated as any defense can be, because they'll run cover 1 and cover 2 and cover 3 and versions of quarters and match and some cover 6 stuff and blitz. If you can dictate terms to them to get back to the point of, are you tough enough? You let McDaniels get into his bag. If he's on his heels, in a way we haven't seen a whole lot this season, because you're not making it work on first and second down. Third down is not where I want to be, not to mention the Chargers have the best deep ball defense in the league. And the Patriots can play patient. They can play within 10 yards of the line of scrimmage, but you want to do that on your own terms, not on the way that the Chargers have said, we built a wall, you're not getting around it, let's just fast forward to 3rd and 7 and see what you got.
10 seconds of substance. What's better, playoff football or sex? Well, more of that coming up after the break. Andrew Callahan, George Balekji on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Post-loss sex, that would be great too.
Boston's the Sports Hub.
We just got to be patient. I learned throughout the process that you let the front office do their job, and when you get there in February 7th, 8th, whatever, you're going to have your players there, and then you go from there.
That was Alex Cora at Fenway Fest just yesterday, say afternoonish, talking about how the Red Sox are the only Major League Baseball team to yet sign a Major League free agent. Not minor league, Major League. Later last night, Alex Bregman, who opted out of his contract with the Red Sox, 5 years, $175 million to sign with the Chicago Cubs. So as Alex Cora is saying, what I've learned is you let the front office do their job, you get to February, and then your team's your team. That sounds like a different Alex Cora when you go back a year ago, who was openly talking about how he would love for Alex Bregman to be in a Red Sox uniform. Him calling the shots, wanting to get his guy in that building. We saw the payoff for getting a veteran with experience, a leader like Alex Bregman in that clubhouse, and what it did for all the young talent they have. What does Bregman do after a year? Opt out to go get more money, rightfully so, especially when your agent is Scott Boras. What do the Red Sox do? For $3 million more a year and a no-trade clause, according to John Heyman, he signs with Chicago. And to bring this all together, if you really want to go back a year ago, why is Rafael Devers no longer in a Red Sox uniform? Because he hated how the Red Sox front office handled Alex Bregman coming in and being the third baseman. So the reason you lost Rafael Devers, who at the height of his powers is a top 5 bat in Major League Baseball, is for Alex Bregman. And a year later, you don't have either one. If I am Alex Cora, I am irate, calling Craig Breslow and Theo Epstein and saying, what the bleep happened? I still can't believe it. I really cannot believe it. That the Red Sox, who had the inside track to keep Alex Bregman, $3 million more a year? No. No trade clause? No. I'm just baffling that this is happening to the Boston Red Sox.
I'm not baffled. I am infuriated.
Okay.
And look, we can do the defeatist, nihilistic attitude of just nothing is going to change with ownership until ownership changes when it comes to spending with the Red Sox, and I don't blame you. What I'm going to do instead is do something exactly as Sam Kennedy asked all of us to do yesterday. And what a gift this was, this quote. Just like Full Throttle, just like everything they've promised to do when it comes to free agents. And Sam Kennedy asked us to do this. Quote, it's just important to look at the facts. That quote was in response to, hey, we're not really sure as a fan base if you're willing to do what it takes to land a top-tier free agent. So let's look at the facts. According to Red Sox payroll on X/Twitter, the payroll right now without Bregman is about $242.9 million. George, their payroll in 2018, the last time they won a World Series, was $239 million. The Red Sox, since their last World Series, cannot be bothered to spend more than $3.5 million than the last time they won the World Series. $3 million, also pertinent, because that was the gap between their reported offer to Alex Bregman and what the Cubs gave him to get him to Chicago. And you nailed it, because this goes back to Devers, which really goes back to the money. When they signed him to a $331 million that was so underwater, oh my God, it's just soaking wet, and it's got this anvil tied to it. What can we do? Well, what you did was sign Bregman. Great, celebrations. And then you looked at Devers and said, how can we rankle our best player? How can we mismanage as management, whose job is to handle relationships with players, and particularly your best one, and piss him off? Well, you don't communicate. You promise him things you're not able to follow through on. You understand he's someone who's not the most mature in the clubhouse and still do these things anyway. You move forward. Bregman plays third. He's the DH. He's rankled again when you do something by asking him to play first you said you would not do. Shockingly, he's annoyed. And because you would rather him take orders than hit home runs for you, you then trade him. Because you know what? You've got Alex Bregman. He's at third anyway. And we signed him and he's got options, but we'll pay him. Okay. I wrote a column back then, George, when this happened in June, that said as long as they understand, they just handed Alex Bregman a blank freaking check.
Yep.
Because he knows now, as the self-declared leader in the clubhouse, as a good third baseman, everything that he brings to the table. If he leaves, you lose not only just one bat in Bregman, but you lose the bat to replace, or lose the bat in Devers. You lose the bat to replace Devers. This lineup becomes appreciably worse. Fine, re-sign him. They don't. And it's cool that they'll be right that this contract, like Devers, is not going to be worth it in the long haul. They don't hang banners for accounting. They hang banners to win baseball games and win championships. And if the team that wins 4 games at the end of the World Series has books that aren't quite as balanced as the team that loses the World Series, they still get to hang a banner. I do not want to hear about the Red Sox coming up short any more about $3 million with this contract or that one. You put yourselves in this situation. And what you've done now is put yourself in a worse situation because you refuse to budge on a little amount of money that, frankly, who cares when Alex Bregman is 36? And you're paying him more money than he deserves. Free agency is an unreasonable market. You can't go in there expecting to make rational decisions here and again, because what you do then is let yourself down, and you let a fan base down. That while, I'll go back to 2018 again, your franchise valuation, according to Forbes, goes up by $2 billion, you are spending just $3.5 billion to improve your roster. It's despicable. It's unacceptable, but I am so glad, so glad Sam Kennedy asked us and told us it's just important to look at the facts, because those facts tell that story, and this story disgusts me.
One more fact for you. Red Sox, 5th most expensive ticket in Major League Baseball. They rank 23rd in how much of their revenue they spend on their players, though. In 2024, $574 million was their revenue. $242 million for the payroll. The top 3 teams that devote their percentage of revenue to their payroll, number 1, the New York Mets. Number 2, the Los Angeles Dodgers. Number 3, the Toronto Blue Jays. Where did number 2 and number 3 finish in last season?
Oh, I think it was the World Series and maybe the best baseball game I've ever seen played in Game 7. And you know what the Blue Jays have done since?
Added.
Not go, our books weren't really that balanced. I mean, we spent a lot of money to finish as runner-up. We should probably pull back and maybe be more efficient. No! They're spending money all over the freaking place. So are the Yankees. So are the Orioles, who beat you out to Pete Alonso. But good for you for staying just below, I think it's the second luxury tax line. We'll have Chris Cotillo on in a second, who can clean up all of my terminology here. But the point is, maybe the most sickening thing about this is that the Red Sox didn't want to give Bregman this deal a year ago. Like, they kind of got that they were screwed with this. They didn't want to give him 5 years. They reportedly offered 5 years, $160 this year. Some deferrals, which, by the way, the Cubs are doing in bulk. A lot of deferrals. This is not a lot of financial pain right away. And they said, okay, fine, we'll do it. But they weren't willing to go all the way. There are no full measures here. There are a bunch of half measures and a bunch of quitters and guys who can't negotiate in the biggest moments, whether it's with the free agents or in certain trades, that it's cool. I don't mind you haven't signed a free agent. You got Wilson Contreras. Big thumbs up. You know what I'd rather do if I'm running a team? Lose only cash as opposed to cash and assets. And instead, they insist on only winning these deals each in a vacuum, as opposed to looking at this as a collective and understanding that we're better off if we have more players and better players, which they knew when they were spending the same amount of money 7 years ago for a World Series champion.
I would love to have him back. I love Breggy. He was a huge part of my success and a lot of the young guys. And not only the young guys, but many of the guys in the clubhouse. That's Roman Anthony yesterday. And you let that guy walk out the door. Middle of the season, when the Red Sox are surging, their pitching has improved, starting in bullpen, their young guys are pulling through. What were the headlines? What were the Athletic articles coming out? What Chris Cotillo was writing about? What many of the people that are so plugged into Boston and Major League Baseball are writing about? Alex Bregman's positive impact in that clubhouse. He was outperforming what they were paying him to do. And just like at the trade deadline, so close to Joe Ryan, but they said, hey man, stop offering so much. That's kind of crazy. They don't get him. So close to getting Alex Bregman, because everyone was saying too, the Red Sox had the inside track. He was in your building. He obviously knew how special it was, what was happening in Boston. You have the ace in Garrett Crochet. You have the young stud in Roman Anthony. You have a good defense. You had a bullpen. You had improving pitching. You had Alex Bregman. And you effed it up. How many times are they going to come this close and it falls through their hands? And that comes back to the guy that is making decisions by looking at his laptop and not looking up and talking to someone. And that's on Craig Breslow.
Look, it really goes to the top, and I'm just honestly tired. Like, as angry as we are, and we should be, it's just tiring to wag a finger at the owner's box and just go spend more GD money in the way that you did before you diversified your portfolio as Fenway Sports Group and divided your attention all over the place from the one place that is increasing the value of your franchise by $2 billion in 7 years, with the pandemic in there, by the way, when everything kind of crashed in case you missed it. But it's true. The money starts there. It stops there. It's all flowing upward, and not enough is coming down to the roster. I'll say this, too, because we talked about the Devers thing. I know some people are tired of it, but this is the framework. This is the context of what has happened and what continues to happen. So they were unhappy with how much they paid him. They trade him. They got the Giants to eat all of that money, which does not do anything for the scoreboard or the standings. What did, though, was, okay, we got Alex Bregman, Jordan Hicks now, who they owe $30 million for 2.5 years. That's great. You got James Tibbs. Oh, you know what? Let's ship out James Tibbs for Dustin May, and then Kyle Harrison for 5+ years. This is the return on Devers. Oh, and Bregman's not a part of that, by the way, because your backup for Devers and the reason you could deal him is no longer here. There's no safety net. Your safety net is you suck at third base, and you have a shallow lineup in a team that inspires not only just no hope within a fan base, aside from crossing your fingers that these unbelievable prospects who are going to be franchise cornerstones for years to come can play like they're 25 and 26 when they're still years away from that and where they should be in their development curve. It's pathetic.
That's perfect way to summarize it. It's pathetic because it keeps happening, and we know what the city and what that clubhouse and that entire ball team and front office and ownership is capable of. We'll take a quick break. When we're back, Chris Cotillo will be joining us to shed some light and help us maybe feel a little bit better about Alex Bregman now wearing a Cubs jersey. Right now, after this quick break on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Boston's home for... studios. This is Boston's home for sports. Touchdown! The flagship station of the Patriots, Bruins, the Celtics. WBCFM and HD Boston 98.5, the Sports Hub. Leslie Media Group station celebrating 65 years of broadcasting. Sports Hub headlines. Presented by Celsius Energy Drinks.
The Boston Red Sox need a new third baseman. Again, Alex Bregman signed with the Chicago Cubs. 5 years, $175 million. So where does that leave Boston? The only team yet to sign a major league free agent this offseason. And after their 10-2 win over the Rangers yesterday, quick turnaround for the Bruins today facing the Penguins. Puck drop at 5 p.m. on our sister station, 102.5. Ryan Johnston and Bob Beers have pregame beginning at 4:30 p.m. Again on Country 102.5. Bills-Jaguars in the first half. Bills just taking a slight lead, 10-7 early on. Winner gets whoever comes out of New England and Los Angeles. And these Sports Hub headlines are brought to you by Awaken 180 Weight Loss. Improving health, eating better, losing weight. Have you started your New Year's goal? It's 100 times easier with help. Awaken180weightloss.com. I'm George Balekji with 98.5 Sports Hub. Your next update coming up in an hour.
Sports, yeah, we got that covered. 98.5 The Sports Hub.
From out of nowhere, the Cubs kind of came on the last week or so in terms of a viable threat. But again, I didn't think anyone was going to go 6 years. That's what I kept hearing is whatever team goes 6 years, that's the team that's going to land Bregman. And I was like, well, if it's 6 years, then I don't. If no one gets there and the Red Sox are at 5, and let's say the Cubs are the other team and they're at 5, I still think that he would pick the Red Sox even for a little bit less. I think he would if it's all 5-year deals here. I was wrong. I mean, I picked up my phone, I saw the passing tweet, and I was like, wow. I even at 50-50, it was genuinely surprising because I thought for sure if we were going to lose Bregman, it was going to be because some team went 6 years and the Red Sox stayed pat at 5.
Host of the Section 10 podcast, plugged into the Sox. Fitting we come back with window shopper because that's what the Red Sox feel like now. Just a window shopper for free agents. Let's bring in Chris Cotillo of MassLive.com. He can help give us some context to what's going on with Boston. First things first, Chris, how are we doing today, my man?
Tired. How are you?
Tired and angry.
Yes, perfect.
I don't want to be on a playoff football Sunday.
We want to enjoy it, and this throws some mud on that. But Chris, 5 years, $175 million. You just heard Carabas say it was thinking of which team would get to 6 years. 5 years. That's what the offer was from Chicago. What happened for Alex Bregman to slip from the Red Sox fingers and end up with the Cubs?
Yeah, I mean, I think there was kind of a guess from a lot of people that Alex Bregman loved it here. He enjoyed his year here. He enjoyed the clubhouse and Alex Cora and the city and all that stuff. And at the end of the day, that would matter more than dollars and cents and details and things like that in a contract. As you guys know, these professional athletes say all the right things. At the end of the day, it's going to be the best offer. You know, it's going to be the top dollar, and we very, very often see that be the case. In this case, the Cubs had that offer in a few ways. The Red Sox were willing to go 5 years, 5 guaranteed, no options, nothing like that. Like they were at 5. It was a competitive AAV, not what the Cubs gave that ended up getting the deal done. There's a couple other sticking points. Red Sox wouldn't do a no-trade clause. The Cubs would. That was important to Bregman because he wanted security. Like, if I'm going to commit to you, you have to commit to me. And also the Red Sox deferral schedule. This is, I guess, I tweeted, it's more for a CPA like my father than a dumb sports writer like me. But the pay schedule had them paying Bregman out decades in deferred money to lower the present value. The Cubs also have a lot of deferred money in this, $70 million. But it wasn't that far into the future, and so the present-day value obviously changes based on that. So at the end of the day, I can't tell you if they got a little closer with their best and final offer, if he would have picked, I don't know, the Red Sox for $5 million less or whatever it was. At the end of the day, I can say the factors were more important than I think a lot of people thought. And at the end of the day, the Cubs offer was overall kind of head and shoulders above the entire package of what the Red Sox had for him.
So I want to go back to the no trade clause in a second, because I think that's an important sticking point, and one that, frankly, if I was the front office, I would be doing everything I could to talk Scott Boras out of it or offer things in exchange for that, because that's something that once it's in place, the contract's signed, there's no working around it. But I want to go back to the other sticking points that you mentioned, because this is insane to me. What does it say about an ownership group that, first of all, expects players to come back and makes a bet of, okay, we'll offer $3 million less per year, and we will kick money further out than the Cubs will when it matters less because just inflation and the passing of time, that to them that's important enough to lose a player like this?
Yeah, I mean, you gotta, if you're a team and a big market team, and you could put that in air quotes if you want right now. I mean, if you're a team that wants to be in this pool of free agents, you have to be willing to get uncomfortable, not past what you originally thought would make you uncomfortable, but past what you deemed your final sticking point would be. There wasn't a point in the last couple of weeks where they had a meeting and, they discussed, hey, can we give him a no trade clause, even though we don't usually do that? Those points definitely, matter when, the margin is so thin on some of these offers. Again, the Cubs offer was more total money, more year to year. I don't think it was the difference of $100 a year. It was significant enough to make a difference. The Red Sox were in the ballpark from what I could tell without having the, number 100%. But the deferrals part was a big deal because of that present value and the no trade clause. So, I think some of these club policies and some of these, stipulations and things are meant to be broken when the case calls for it. And for the Red Sox to be kind of just, ardent in deciding that they were not going to bend ultimately costs you the player. And I guess if you're a very principled person, you can credit them for that. If you're a fan that wants them to win games, I think you're singing a different tune.
When we look back on what it's been the last year, Rafael Devers is gone because you brought in Alex Bregman. That summarizes it. Now Alex Bregman is gone. When Devers goes, they're clearing the money. They bring in Bregman. You think it's a long-term commitment. He opts out. Everyone expected it. But, Chris, what we're thinking at this point is if you make a decision that would drive Devers out of town, you're going to be committed to Alex Bregman. They have long-term strategy and plans. And then all of that's gone. What is going on when it comes to the strategy? How in line the front office may be with management and Alex Cora. What is going on with the Red Sox where they lose Rafael Devers and now they lose Alex Bregman? So all of that, they lost their two best players the last two seasons, and they have nothing to show for it.
Yeah, I mean, I think they underestimated how angry Devers would be about getting a guy to play his position, and they underestimated how much Bregman would, I think, commanded free agency in terms of interest and dollars, and how much he'd be I think they underestimated how interested he'd be in going elsewhere, right? I think they thought, hey, he likes it here. We might be able to get him on a relatively good deal. And when you run that risk and you don't get an extension done, in the middle of the season at some point, obviously it takes two to tango, and he's a Boras guy, so who knows if he was open to that at a certain point. But I think the real second, there's about 30 second guesses here. Obviously, if you trade Rafael Devers, we've already relitigated that 1,000 times, everybody. And you at least know that you're going to have Bregman for 5 or 6 years, and you can reallocate that money to him. That's at least an out. But to have that trade go down and only have Bregman for 3 more months is really inexcusable. And I think, one of the second guesses I have today is what I just mentioned of why didn't they make that trade, say we just cleared out $250 million. Hey, Alex, do you want 160 of them or 150 of them on June 20th? Hey, why 5 for 175? A deal that would be kind of maybe a little bit of a push or a little bit of a stretch at the time just to, and I know he was hurt and that played into it, but just to guarantee, that you don't lose the guy. And now they're sitting here with neither, and big questions at a couple big spots in the infield too.
Yeah, this is just a fundamental misreading to me. Again, as someone who is on the outside of this as far as possible, I understood watching this trade.
With most things.
Yes, thank you very much. I'm being kind to you. We're going to end that way now, pal. as soon as they traded Devers, this was a blank check you might as well have handled to Scott Boras and Alex Bregman, who was everything you wanted and more at that point in June. If you wanted to wait it, fine, but you had to understand the risk. And when you don't understand and you misread the person that you're dealing with in his stage of his career, the last big contract he's going to get, you can't bank on the difference of $3 million being swayed by Fenway. Like, how are you selling your stars on the Fenway experience as much as you're trying to sell fans because you don't have the players to do it? You should have just offered the same and then banked on that as a tiebreaker. If you're wrong, you're wrong. At least you match the money. I don't want to talk about that anymore because I think eventually we have to move forward and we only have so much time with you here. Bo Bichette is the last big notable bat on the market. Where do the Red Sox stand with him? What is the likelihood that he's in a Boston uniform this season?
Yeah, I mean, I think I said on our pod earlier with McAdam, like they have to get desperate, and now it's just a question of, they are desperate and they have to get silly. Will they? They have not for a long time, really, when it comes to these free agent bidding wars. And, there were times where people were like, oh, where's Bregman going to get his money? We found out last night where Bichette is going to get his money. I think you're looking at a lot of teams that are going to be pretty motivated to do that, and teams that should really, really scare you if you're the Red Sox. Number one, the Phillies have a meeting with him tomorrow. Don Mattingly just became the bench coach. He spent the last couple of years in Toronto. Dave Dombrowski doesn't lose bidding wars. He just doesn't, and we've seen that time and time again.
Miss him.
The Yankees, they clearly are not feeling great about their chances to land Bellinger, so there's a pivot to be had there. And Toronto is going big game hunting, whether it's Tucker or Bichette or somebody else in that group. And I mean, that's three teams that should scare you really, really badly if you are entering a bidding war. Toronto is this brand new, world power, no pun intended, because they're actually an international team, but they are a team that is now spending big. We've seen that throughout the offseason. They wanted Cease. They got him for big money. The Phillies, like I said, and the Yankees are the Yankees. And they haven't really done much. And that's, without counting that any of these other teams get involved on Bichette. So, I don't believe he's going to get $300 million like some of these reports have said. It's going to be somewhere in the twos. It's going to be a longer-term deal. He is younger. In some ways, I think he has more upside at this stage in his career than Bregman, but you're going to have to pay for that. And so if you trust the Red Sox to win a bidding war, and there's absolutely no evidence that you should, then they'll have a chance there. And the problem is the rest of the options behind him aren't great for two reasons. Number one, they're not as talented. And number two, they're trade options generally, and you've already done that over and over and over. I mean, people can compliment Breslow, and I do to an extent, on not moving off the Myers and Campbells, especially Anthony and Tolley and Early and your real blue chip guys. They have traded 20 prospects over the last few years, packaging 4 spare parts, packaging 3 for Contreras, packaging 2 for Gray. The deadline moves that they made, even if they weren't, great, they've really depleted the farm system in a lot of ways. So at a certain point, to go get a Brendan Donovan or to go get an Isaac Paredes or whoever it is, you're going to have to pay even more in terms of prospects, and I just don't think that they want to do that either. So to me, it's Bichette or bust unless they find some really creative, out-of-the-box option here.
Okay, so it's Bichette or bust. It's on the Red Sox. They have to go swing big. But you started with when Alex Bregman ends up in Chicago, there was a bunch of misunderstandings, them underestimating how much certain things meant to him. How does that happen, Chris, and who does that fall on? Because that's a guy that was in your building. You obviously should have a great line of communication with him, or it should be a no-stress negotiation. Pick up the phone, Alex, what do you think? Okay, you want this? Boom, let's make it happen. $3 million more, no trade. How does that happen? He wasn't a guy that was playing for Toronto like Bo Bichette and you're trying to bring to Boston. He was in your building for 162 games. I know he was injured. He was here with you a long time. How does that happen in that lapse of communication, which seems like the same thing that's been happening under Craig Breslow?
Or is it just a bad bet? That to me is my read. Which is it?
Yeah. No, I mean, I think that the great miscommunication of all goes back to the Devers days when they told him, hey, don't worry, the media is going to say we're in on Arenado and Bregman, and we're really not. And I think where you can tell something was really weird, and people don't talk about this, it stuck with me because of, I think, how chronically online I am. Passan had, the night that they signed Bregman, confirmed the report he was going here, and then said the expectation is that Alex Bregman will play second base for the Boston Red Sox.
God.
Like someone at Passan's level or Schefter's level or whoever does not screw something like that up. It's not like that was on egg on his face. So maybe they carried that big lie through when they signed Bregman, and then once he got here, or got to Fort Myers in that case, they said, you're actually playing third. Hey, Rafi, you're going to DH. We saw, how it blew out. So that's, I think, the original sin of this whole thing. And I think, part of it too is they figure like, we're the Red Sox and we'll be able to figure it out because we always have when times have changed. I also have always been struck just reading the tea leaves. I mean, looking at his Instagram in terms of how many different kind of like, sponsorship deals and marketing things he does and what he's said in conversations with me, and the fact he's Scott Boras' client, that Alex Bregman's a guy who is not going to take sweetheart hometown discounts, especially after kind of doing it last year on taking a short-term deal. He said to me in June, a really big priority for me is finding a place I can call home for the rest of my career, establish roots with my young kids and all that stuff. So if the Red Sox were offering a 3 or 4 year extension during the season, I don't know if they were, it wasn't going to get the job done. And if I could understand that with my limited access, they should, having the guy as one of their employees. So it's just, I think the projection models sometimes don't allow you to get silly. And, maybe it proves out over time that the Cubs did get silly here. I actually think it probably is an overpay for a guy that, I don't think had as good of a year as everyone else thinks last year. And this isn't the people are going to be, Boston media smearing him on his way out. I've been saying that the whole time. The Red Sox should have matched what they did. I still don't think the contract ages particularly well.
No. Hey, but at least they get to hang a banner for didn't sign Bregman and we spent more money and got more value as opposed to World Series because we're just here for the accounting and not for the baseball. Really quick, and this is off the top of your head, so no one's going to hold you to this.
Oh, good.
The lineup. What does it look like if the Red Sox play a full squad game tomorrow? These are their starters, 1 through 9. Go.
Batting order or positions?
Batting order.
Okay. I mean, I think Anthony's going to lead off. Mm-hmm. I think that there is, somebody who is going to be that next edition. In a perfect world, you have Bichette hitting second, but somebody like that is a big bat.
So Brendan Donovan, okay.
Yeah, well, he's lefty, or I think so. He's not a right-handed hitter, which you like to have the left-right matchups because of the 3-batter minimum. Why don't you try watching baseball, Callahan, one time?
Why don't they sign right-handed hitters so I don't have to watch baseball? How about that?
That's a good point.
Keep going.
I think Willier's a guy who they're really high on this year. I think he's probably a guy that could hit third if Casas reemerges, which I believe in him. No one else does. He could be right up there. Cora weirdly said yesterday they're committing to Contreras as the cleanup hitter. Behind that you get into the kind of hot hand between Duran as a left-handed guy or Meyer if he's hitting well, a lefty in that spot. I like Rafaela in the 9-hole, and Duran's obviously a candidate for 5th, 6th, 7th. I think he's not going to be the leadoff guy behind Anthony. So it's like I'm putting together a Sudoku in my head here, but I think you get the general.
So there's a question mark at 2. There's question marks 5, 6,
right.
7, and 8. But thank God we have
and I also think
at the bottom. And I'm not mad at you. It's just the state of the Red Sox.
Yeah, they have a good bottom of the lineup. If Narvaez is going to hit 8th and or 7th.
Great.
And I think but in a perfect world, you have Bregman, hitting second and figure out probably either, Willier or Casas hitting third. That's not going to happen. So you got to figure out, who else that is. But I think they're not committed to it. I do think they like that Anthony leadoff thing. To me, if Duran gets hot, you lead him off. You have insert right-handed bat be here as number 2, and then Anthony 3rd, Contreras 4, and now you're really talking with run producing. But a year ago, it was Bregman and Devers in that mix, and you never got to see Bregman, Devers, and Anthony together in the lineup, which is crazy.
Very good. As people well know, you are a graduate of the University of North Carolina.
I thought he went to Duke.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Drake May also went to the University of North Carolina. Oh. Your favorite NFL team is the New England Patriots. I believe you were going to go watch Drake May and the New England Patriots play a playoff game tonight. Chris, this is our last question, and I think our most important for you. Let's say before your very eyes, your favorite quarterback and your favorite team win a playoff game. Is playoff football better than sex?
We'll be better equipped to answer that question at about 11:15, 11:30 tonight.
No, Chris, I need it right now.
You are on the Sports Hub right now, Chris, at 2:21.
We have Dave and Dedham waiting. I can pull up Dave and Dedham if he's going to answer this question, and we can say goodbye to you if you're not, but I want to give you a second chance because you're my guy.
I really I haven't experienced the playoff football in person, so I'm going to have to get back to you at 11:15. I mean, there's just
all right. Thanks, Chris,
I'm also expecting to freeze, so that's too.
There's one thing that can warm you up. That's sex. Dave and Dedham, Chris, appreciate you coming on. Thanks for all the insight, my man, Chris Cotillo of Mass Live. Before we go to this quick break,
thanks, Chris.
Dave and Dedham, you've been waiting patiently. Appreciate the patience, my man. What do you think? What's better, sex or playoff football by the New England Patriots?
Oh, thanks. I'll make this quick, not from firsthand knowledge, but I've got an emphatic answer. There's a semi-pro football team in Marlboro, a great defensive back. He was like a mild-mannered school teacher. In the newspaper, he said when he would light up a receiver, he said it was better than sex.
I love that.
So playing playoff football is better than sex. That's astounding. And by the way, I am so glad that story ended the way it did because I had no idea where the semi-pro league was going with the teacher who was found in the paper. Normally those stories don't go very well. But Dave, I appreciate the contribution. That's frankly more than we got from Chris Cotillo at the very end.
Yeah.
So thank you for saving us this segment. We got to get back to serious football, though.
We will. Right after this quick break, Andrew Callahan, George Balekji, 98.5. We'll take a quick break. See you guys in 4 minutes.
Boston's home for sports. In this town, sports happens 24/7. We're Boston's home for sports. 98.5 The Sports Hub.
We're back on 98.5 Sports Hub. Andrew Callahan, George Balekji. Patriots home playoff game today. 8:15 kickoff. Pats, Chargers. You can listen right here on 98.5.
I think it's actually 8, but you know what?
No, the latest I saw, it's 8:15 on NBC.
Oh, you're right. You're right.
Right? No. It was 8 o'clock for a long time. And then today it was 8:15. Where did they get away with this?
You know what's going to happen, too, is it's really going to be like 8-19.
Yes.
Which this happened with the college football playoff. I don't know if you're watching. But they did the thing where it's like, coverage starts at 7.
Mm-hmm.
I'll tune in at 7. That's the big number on my TV that's telling me when the thing I want to watch is going to start. Cool. Oh, no, coverage means the pregame show.
Yep.
So I have to wait an extra hour because then the game starts at 8, which really means 8:07, to get to the thing that I want. And then more recently, they stripped off the coverage starts. It was just like a blatant lie. Oh, hey, I don't remember the game. Might have been Miami, Ohio State. They're like, yeah, it's 6 o'clock. I'm like, what? There's no way. That game is in Central Time Zone. It's in Dallas. Yeah, Miami, Ohio State, 6 o'clock. They just, wanted to move it up. We got a bunch of, it's like an early bird special of the college football playoff. No. Just your playoff, your pregame show is early.
You're being generous by saying 8:19 kickoff. I don't even know if we'll get to that. Like 8:22, they're just going to milk it. But it is today, 8 o'clock sometime. Throw on NBC, listen to the Sports Hub. You know what will be on time? Pregame on the Sports Hub.
Yes.
And kickoff with the Sports Hub. So tune in there. Let's get into, we were talking about the big picture. We know Drake May, Justin Herbert, Jim Harbaugh, Mike Vrabel. We know all that. Josh McDaniels, what is he going to do? There's also some question marks. Is Kayshon Boutte going to be available? Is Harold Landry going to be available for the Patriots? Who's a under-the-radar type player? A guy we know is a contributor here in New England. It's been sums of all the parts leading to this product of the whole. But who in your eyes, Andrew, could have the biggest impact? That is not Drake May, not Mike Vrabel in tonight's game.
So I'll give you 2 of them, and they both play in the line of scrimmage, which is we talked about in the first hour. Like, this is how this game is going to be played. There's not going to be much of a, how do they want to approach this? Like, we know how the Chargers want to play, and the Patriots are going to have to meet them on those battlegrounds in a way that, ironically enough, is the same way the Titans, when Vrabel came in here 6 years ago, wanted to play them, punch you in the mouth over and over and over again, and we'll just overpower you. So the first guy, if you want to go really under the radar, is going to be Mike Onwenu, who at right guard, frankly, has had a Pro Bowl caliber second half of the season. Mm-hmm. Granted, it doesn't do you much good because Pro Bowl voting ends midway through that second half of the season. But the plays I think the Patriots are going to rely on against the Chargers defense, as we established, likes to play nickel, so a lot of 5 defensive backs. And they like to play with the 2 high shell, is you're going to have these gap schemes or man-blocked runs where you have a pulling guard or a pulling tackle, because what that does is it gives you a numbers advantage. Let's say you're running to the left, and Mike Onwenu, the right guard, is pulling from the right to the left. You suddenly get an extra blocker to that side. And when the defense is playing back, by definition, you don't have as many people up front. So you get an extra man to one side. They're already outnumbered on that side. These are the type of plays that the Chargers see a lot, and that Mike Onwenu has been very, very good on. So whether it's short yardage or just the running game in general, Mike Onwenu is going to be a big piece of this, especially understanding, chips are down. We're going to go behind him and Morgan Moses. Harold Landry's the other guy. And this is because they're going to have, I think, if he plays, their front 4 healthy for the first time in ages. And that's how they want to get pressure on Herbert, just like you would any quarterback. Him, Caleb Chason, Milt Williams, and Christian Barmore. I don't know what type of shape he's in, missing the last few games. The knee injury is something he's dealt with since mid-October. But even when he's not rushing Herbert, which they desperately need, because I can tell you, talking to people within the team this week, they're afraid of Herbert just scrambling around all day, or all night, I should say. That's, to them, a problem. Harold Landry, though, is still among the best edge setters against a run in the entire league. So we know the Chargers want to run the ball. They want to be physical. You need one of your best 2-way defenders to show up against the run and pass.
Especially against how decimated this Chargers offensive line is. It's a layup to be able to get pressure on the quarterback without blitzing. It's what the Patriots defense needs. The 2 guys I look at, on defensively, it's big that Robert Spillane's back, and he was a full participant in practice.
Good to go.
Huge to have that second-level defender and the guy that is a quarterback of your defense and that leader there. To me, it's Kayshon Boutte with a hamstring. I know he's been in and out of the lineup. He's been banged up, but he's been so reliable for Drake May. And to me, Kayshon Boutte has been such an anomaly of his jump this season. I know you've covered it up close, watching it, seeing it on the field. He's not the fastest guy. He's not the most athletic, explosive. But where Drake May knows, I'm going to put the ball there. Kayshon Boutte is going to put his hands out, and he's going to catch it. And that matters in the postseason for a lot of these guys getting their first taste of playoff football. And for someone to be a down-the-field receiver like Kayshon Boutte, who comes up clutch, understands what Drake May needs in the red zone as well, for him to be dealing with a hamstring, for him to be limited, as we've seen popping up on the injury report, that is concerning to me because against this defense, which is good against stopping the run for the Chargers, you're going to need chain movers. They have Stefon Diggs. They have Hunter Henry. They have the reliable guys. I really need Kayshon Boutte in that lineup.
And they promoted Jeremiah Webb from the practice squad, elevated him. Right. And maybe that's just insurance. Maybe it's not. Hamstring is something that Kayshon Boutte dealt with earlier this season, and he missed 2 games. Granted, one was on short rest, the Thursday night game versus the Jets.
Yeah.
So that might not have been a full 2-week injury because he came back later. Whatever. If it's a recurring injury, though, that to me puts a lot of doubt in his availability. If it's not, hamstring still finicky in the way that cold night could pop up in the second quarter. But the point you make is a good one because I don't even see this as a chain mover so much as that's the best deep ball defense in the league with the Chargers. How are you going to puncture that? And I asked Drake May this week saying, look, you can't totally, kind of give in to the Chargers and understand like, hey, okay, we're just going to work around this. Like you have to take your shots. When do you do it? How do you know when you want to do that? Whenever I get single coverage. And when do we see Kayshon Boutte get the football? Down the sideline in single coverage. Would you care to guess Drake May's completion percentage on deep balls to Kayshon Boutte this year? So passes that cover more than 20 yards in the air. And mind you, for context, a good deep ball thrower,
okay, thank you,
like 40 to 50%. That's a really good mark for the best. Like May's completion percentage on deep balls, I think, is just over 50. I'd have to double check, but just for Boutte.
But just to Kayshon Boutte?
Just to Kayshon Boutte.
I'm going to shoot high, aim high, 73%.
71%.
Bam!
10 out of 14. That's insane.
That is nuts.
So let's say you take Kayshon Boutte off the table. Not great. Kyle Williams, excellent deep ball tracker. Doesn't have a lot of volume of plays. Playoff football.
It's not consistent.
Good defense. It's a little shaky than you'd like.
And he's a rookie. It's not consistent like it is with Boutte.
But there's a drop-off, is the point. And so if this defense, which is a smart defense, gets to double Diggs over the middle or shade a safety or play him in and out or, you spin a safety down weak so they're waiting if it's a crossing route on the opposite side of the formation, Drake May has to go elsewhere. And instead of Kayshon Boutte with a shot down the sideline that hits 70% of the time, it's going to be a little bit lower for Kyle Williams or a little bit more of an unknown. Demario Douglas still in there. Look, there are options. They're just not as good, and I think it's a good pick because they're going to need their explosives because it's just those are the easiest ways to take control of the game. You might have a high success rate, which they do is on offense, meaning you can play moving the chains. That's what the Chargers want. What they don't want is you to come over the top, and the best way for them to do that has been to Kayshon Boutte when available, but he might not be there. It's tough.
How do you see Stefon Diggs falling into this fold? Great deep ball defense. Stefon Diggs is the underneath receiver. They have talented corners. We see Derwin James play plenty in the nickel corner position as well. So could cover Stefon Diggs in the slot. That's a big one. And that's a guy who I've circled with, you have playoff experience, big game experience. I mean, do we need to go to the miracle in Minnesota that he was a part of? He's been there. He's done that. He's played on big stages. And he's been so clutch second half of the season for Drake May. Where do you see Stefon Diggs' impact being tonight?
It's going to be a huge role, and that would have been true even with Kayshon Boutte.
Yeah.
Not just because he's their leading receiver, but the Chargers play a lot of match zone, meaning they'll be camped out initially in a particular area of the field, and as the play develops, then they're reading routes, and based on your movements, they'll move a certain way, and it develops sometimes into straight man, other times in just a kind of a hybrid coverage. So Stefon Diggs, being the veteran that he is, has seen a lot of match coverage and quarters and all this stuff that the Chargers are going to play. He'll know when to sit down in a way that says, okay, the middle linebacker is reading me. Once I get to 5 yards, he'll trigger and go one way or another. But if I stop at 4 on this stop route, he's not going to do anything and I'm going to be open. Those are the small little nuances and understandings that a lot of great offensive coordinators know and understand how to break rules and break defenses with little things like that. It's another, though, to ask a Kyle Williams and Efton Chisholm as rookies to go do that. Diggs can do it. The other thing I'll say is this. I mentioned the double teams, which I think any good defense lately down the stretch has done to him on third down. You'll notice the Jets and Dolphins, not among them, as he went off. I think they need to find him on early downs in a way they've not force-fed him off in the season because that's when you're going to get basic looks. It'll be less of the match stuff and more spot drop, meaning, okay, I have this deep third. The other corner is a deep third. You got a single safety over the top. We're playing cover 3. Whatever happens, happens. We're just at our landmarks. You need to get Diggs against early looks where he can't be doubled. And I would add this off of play action because the Chargers, again, very good pass defense. But over the last 2 months, they're giving up 9.7 yards per attempt off of play action. And that is part due to the zone aspect of it and the fact that they really have to come downhill because they're playing through lighter personnel because they want to bet that they'll stop the pass, and when you run and run and run, eventually you sputter out. The play action piece and Diggs on early downs is going to be just as big as the jumbo stuff we already talked about.
And the jumbo stuff will set up what we could see coming in the play action.
Yeah. And I
personnel may look different. Oh, I know you're going to say.
Oh, I was going to say, I hope we get a big man touchdown.
There we go.
I threw it again. Thayer
go.
Munford's blocked 54 times in his 54 snaps as an extra tight end. Feed my guy, Thayer Munford, who came back after I think Cleveland signed him to their active roster. And, he's talked about before, like he was here at the beginning of the year and still pissed off. He'd been cut in Vegas, which, look, I would be pissed as a non-football player if Vegas cut me, the worst team in the league. Didn't have his head in the game. Cleveland takes him. He comes back. He's like, he told the coaching staff, look, I'll do whatever this time. I'm all in. So they put him at fullback. They put him at extra tight end. He's gone in motion. He's killing people up front. Feed the big guy.
Get him 6.
Yeah. This is the center down low who's gobbled up 12 defensive rebounds, throwing bows, getting scratches on the arm, like all this stuff Jokic has all the time. Let that guy eat in the post. Throw him one. Let him just try to score. That goes for Thayer Munford. I think we're going to get it tonight.
I can't imagine anything that makes you whip into shape on what you need to prioritize than leaving Las Vegas and going to Cleveland. Because Vegas, you have all the distractions in the world. It's Vegas. The weather, obviously the Vegas Strip, all of that. You go to Cleveland, you're like, all I can do here is lift weights, eat food, and watch film and practice football. There's nothing else to do in Cleveland.
Or the Raiders to tell you, nah, we're good.
That too. You know what?
On. Woo.
Let's get you out of here after they just clean house offensive staff. One more I'm watching for, and it has to be, I love the second half jump we've seen from Travion Henderson. When Josh McDaniels started to adapt, you bring an extra blocker, but there has to be coaching going on behind the scenes where his vision has improved. Travion Henderson has shown why he was picked where he was and why the excitement was. But Ramondre Stevenson, since returning from the toe injury, has been fantastic. And we keep going back to it. And this is where it also goes to where you're pointing out about Josh McDaniels. Is he a genius? Yes, no. Don't overthink it. And with Ramondre Stevenson, run the ball. He has been so reliable. And I thought that was a guy that wouldn't be on the team at the end of the season with how it started with his ball security issues. What he has been the last 4 or 5 games when he's been in the lineup, that's a guy that needs to get going early. He gets going early. You help out Drake May. You set him up for layups. The rest should take care of itself offensively.
It's such a great matchup. Which some of these games you show up on Monday or Tuesday, and I'm watching tape of the Patriots last game. Then you take a peek at their opponent, you dive into the numbers, you ask questions to the coaches, yada yada, and you're like, by Friday, this is the exact game I thought it would be matchup wise as it was on Tuesday and Wednesday. And there's a part of it, but the deeper I've gone, the more I go, this is just such a great test for the Patriots where they are as a program in terms of what Vrabel wants and what he wants to build. And they could win the Super Bowl. I'm not saying because it's year one of Mike Vrabel being here, like anything is not possible. But my point is, for where they want to be and who they want to be, it's such a good check mark. And yet there's a coaching aspect of this too that like McDaniels, as much as Will Campbell, Mike Onwenu, Travion Henderson, has to bring his A game because that is going to be the tiebreaker in playoff football. Do you have the calls at the right times? And do you not get cute, which we've heard?
Yes.
Which I'll tell you, I do see a path to a Patriots blowout here, which we can get to in the next segment.
We'll do that after the break. Andrew Callahan, George Balekji here on the Sports Hub. We'll get to your calls as well. 617-779-0985.
Boston's home for sport. just like you. 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Words out of Andrew's mouth right before we went to break. You see a path to the blowout? Because I got to tell you, for a total of 46.5, for a spread that's right around 3.5 in favor of the Pats, I think it's going to be tight. I think it's going to be an under. I think it's going to be a semi-ugly win, but with the Patriots in control, I just keep going back to 20-13 Pats win. You see blowout. How?
I think there are a lot of paths here for this game. Most of them lead to what you're talking about. Tight game, and my official pick, which we'll get to in the end, does not reflect a blowout. But as we see in the playoffs, anyone who just said, Rams, Panthers, no thanks, like I did, you were surprised. Because, again, the NFL playoffs are for the unexpected. So what would have to happen? Number one, you score in your opening drive. Like, this is a part of the Patriots dictating terms to the Chargers, saying, all right, you want to punch us in the mouth. You can't punch us in the mouth if you're playing catch-up, right? Mm-hmm. Justin Herbert has to go back to pass. And look, putting the ball in the hands of a top 7, 8, whatever quarterback, usually pretty dangerous, except for the fact the man's got a broken hand. So you have that behind the league's worst pass-protecting offensive line. You get it to a 7-0 lead, a 10-0 lead with what we just talked about. Stefon Diggs early downs, a lot of play action. Then you need to bring some pressures that he's not seen before. And what I mean by that is it might be Marcus Jones off the nickel. It might be a safety, and you spin one way and drop coverage into the other. But you need to be able to get quick pressure that good preparation is just not going to take care of. Because I don't think the Patriots pass rush can win often enough as bad as the Chargers offensive line has been. So inevitably, you get to a 2-possession lead in the second quarter. This is where you start to salt them away with the jumbo stuff. Because the Chargers won't have time then to say what they've done all season. Our gamble is we'll play light, we'll stop the run well enough, and we'll wait you out. No. Time is on our side if you're the Patriots and you're up 17-3. So you lean into the jumbo stuff, which leads into more play action. And at that point, I would keep Christian Gonzalez on Keenan Allen because as old as that dude is, and as long as that beard has gotten, literally, he's still where Herbert wants to go.
Yeah.
And this team, frankly, has had some bad luck when it comes to interceptions because the rate overall for teams is about 17% of your pass deflections, which Patriots had a good number of, should become interceptions. Their percentage is way lower. So maybe that finally swings around, and you get some positive regression here in the second half, and you get a tip, and you get a pick. And the other piece is you just can't screw this up on special teams, which, frankly, you shouldn't because the Chargers aren't very good on special teams. They've got Dicker the kicker, don't get me wrong, but all of that leads into you kind of just choke them out. And that Herbert has to make mistakes because he's behind, and you end up winning somewhere around 24-6. Like that to me is how they get to a blowout here, 27-10 maybe, but you really just start to kind of slowly choke them out, arm around the neck, and they just fall down because that's not a team right now that wants to play catch up and really can, given what they have around Justin Herbert.
Christian Gonzalez on Keenan Allen. I would go Carlton Davis on Quentin Johnston just because I don't want that size mismatch with Marcus Jones. Ladd McConkey on Marcus Jones, you could live with that?
I mean, you have to live with something, so yes. And look, the conversation about, just have so-and-so shadow the other guy. It's harder than we make it out to be.
Yeah.
And coaches have talked a little bit more about this because offenses are so good with, motion and disguises or offensive disguises, which is more formationally than guys running around because you do that on defense and not on offense. But the point is, if you don't have to worry about the run and fitting the run, if you're Christian Gonzalez and you're going across formation, you can shadow a lot easier.
Yeah.
Because they're not going to have time to disguise a whole lot of their intentions or formation. So, yeah, that'd be fine. Carlton Davis said something interesting, by the way, this week. I said, look, obviously you prepare a lot every week, but do you feel like you have a good sense knowing who they are, how they want to play you? He goes, oh, yeah. He goes, I know exactly how they want to play me.
There's some arrogance to that.
And it's more
confidence.
He's coming off a bad game in Miami.
Yeah.
So you talk about Quentin Johnston. I might just throw a bunch of jump balls in Carlton Davis's direction if I'm the Chargers because there's pass interference potential there. And Quentin Johnston's a big freaking dude who's got some drops problems. But the point is,
he can come down with it.
That would be another battleground where you go, okay, the Patriots get not only just an interception here or there, maybe a turnover on downs, knowing that they're going to go at Carlton Davis in whatever way Carlton Davis seems to know, which is what I would do, by the way. Mm-hmm. Deep balls, get that flag out. He's been flagged I don't know how many times this season, but way more than he should be. If I'm the Chargers, I don't need a completed pass to get 40 yards. I just have to get you to screw up.
Oh yeah, I feel like I know how they're going to want to play me or play us.
There you go. I think he meant both. He just tried to backtrack a little bit. I mean us. I mean us. Yeah.
Because they're going to be like, all right, let's shut him up. He knows we're going to pick on him. How do you think they're going to play him? Will it be that? Continue to target him out of the D-backs, and especially when it comes to jump balls, in whatever scenario.
And you'll see, Miami did this last week. I think it was their first drive where they ended up having the turnover on downs because Lord only knows why they didn't run it at the worst short yardage defense in the league, which is what the Patriots had been on 4th and 1. They had a play action throw, and Quinn Ewers threw it an incompletion. But the point is, on that drive, they had motioned a slot receiver on Carlton Davis' side to the opposite side of the formation, which left Carlton Davis one-on-one with the Dolphins receiver escapes me. But those kind of backside slants are very common when you just need a gimme completion. So they're going to try to isolate him, whether it's a double move deep, like I've been suggesting, or stuff like that. But it will be, look, if we have to pick one side to throw at, it's not going to be on the side of the dude who was second-team All-Pro last year, Christian Gonzalez. We're going to go at you. Mm-hmm. And that I think will be done in a couple of ways.
What you opened up with for what the Dolphins are doing, and it was Quinn Ewers. That's what I keep looking at. There could be a real big punch to the face, a punch to the mouth for this Patriots defense. The quarterbacks they beat to end out that regular season, Quinn Ewers, Brady Cook, pretty much Tyler Huntley because Lamar Jackson got knocked out. Jackson Dart, Joe Flacco. Everyone talks about the schedule, how it's one of the softest in the league, if not the softest, strength schedule, yada, yada. The quarterbacks his defense has faced, and especially the last few offenses they faced, how watered down they've been, Dolphins, Jets, the most. That's one thing that jumps out at me of this offensive line for the Chargers is banged up and it stinks. But Omarion Hampton, Ladd McConkey, Quentin Johnson, Keenan Allen, with Justin Herbert, that's going to be the test. As much as you and I are going to be watching for him, we're talking about Drake May, how does he perform? This defense predicates the success of what the Patriots do in the postseason. Drake May could put up the points. He's done it. But now this is a quarterback and an offense that can answer. If the Pats run the ball, if the jumbo works, they eat up the clock, they press and make Justin Herbert press. If you got to do a lot with a little, with how much time you have the ball, fine. That's one thing that concerns me about tonight. And you mapped out the path to a blowout. You're not saying it's going to be a blowout. You didn't give your score yet. But
because there's another path where it goes the other way.
Exactly.
You lose by double digits. And this starts with what you just talked about. That defense gets run over. And it sounds crazy because, again, the offensive line point stands as the worst run-blocking team in football, according to the PFF, and almost a quarter of their runs have been stuffed. However, they've been getting better there lately. And that's what matters, right? Yep. Like your season-long numbers at this point, who cares about September and October? Mm-hmm. Late November, December, that's who you've been and frankly, who you are right now. So the Patriots would have to have Bill Williams back and Robert Spillane. You're like, okay, on paper, we're good. And then Greg Roman, the Chargers offensive coordinator, who's one of the best run designers in the whole league in terms of the versatility and the game planning week to week, comes in and cracks you down the middle. And you go, we, as they did against Josh Allen, just brought Corey Durden and Leonard Taylor and no Kyra Stonger to a gunfight with Justin Herbert, who can now run or pass. Mm-hmm. And it's just one of those. The Patriots defense has done a good job at not allowing explosive plays, but everything else has been so meh. Run defense, pass rush, they die so many deaths by 1,000 cuts, and that's what happens here. And then May feels like he has to force something, which is like a playoff thing. He's been so disciplined for a 23-year-old. But that's the inverse, is the Chargers, as opposed to being choked out in the Patriots blowout, do the same thing to you. It's a slow boa constrictor type of approach where you just can't unsettle Herbert, who's really hard to unsettle. And also, by the way, doesn't turn the ball over. 4th lowest turnover-worthy play percentage, which includes actual interceptions and those that a defense drops, among all quarterbacks. So if you want to control the ball, which is what they want to do, and they don't give up deep balls on defense, that's how they could take control early, and the Patriots just go, we don't have any outs because they're doing what they want to do, and we can't stop them.
10's been their out. They need a big play.
Yeah.
Drake May pulls through for them. And this is a good Chargers defense. Whatever happens in the postseason for Los Angeles, Jesse Minter is going to have every head coaching interview out there. This defense is sound. They're disciplined. Watching them on red zone throughout the season or if they're on primetime, that's what stands out about the team. Yes, it's Jim Harbaugh. Yes, all the talent they have on offense. But this defense is solid. For them to match up, it's going to be great. Minter against Josh McDaniels. and what Zach Core has been doing this season, going against Greg Roman and the head coaching matchups. These are two teams that, again, all the Pats, all the picks going in favor of the Patriots. The home field, I believe, the quarterback, I give them the advantage, which I'm a Justin Herbert fan, but he has to prove it in the postseason. That defense for the Chargers can be the difference maker. And no Kyrie's Tonga for the Pats on their D-line too. That's one that is concerning for me as well.
And we'll find out early about their run defense because I think they're going to respond by playing big personnel early. Like their first solution has often been, we're just going to bulk up. And if you want to run play action, okay, cool. We know you're not throwing outside to Carlton Davis or Christian Gonzalez. You're going to try to work the middle of the field, and we'll try to jump that stuff if we can. But with 7 combined defensive linemen and linebackers, we'll just outnumber you and outweigh you. And if that doesn't work, you're not out of outs because you can run blitz. You can try to steal some gaps with some late safety rotations. But those are going to be more risky propositions and solutions than just kind of keeping your base defense on the field. So if the Patriots are giving up 4, 5, 6 yards per carry, don't count on them to make a stand in short yardage. Again, the worst short yardage defense in the league. But it could be a long night, and that's the tough part, which then allows, as I said earlier, offensively, their worry is on the edges with Khalil Mack and Tui Pelotu, who's got 13.5 sacks. Like that, talking to players in the locker room, those two guys on the edges offensively could give them problems as much as I like what I've seen from Morgan Moses and Will Campbell this year. They're just that good.
And that's where this defense can shine through. We'll take a quick break. Bills with a 13-7 lead over the Jaguars in the second half. What could the best path to the Super Bowl be for the Patriots? Andrew Callahan, George Balekji. We'll have that for you guys after this break on 98.5, the Sports Hub.
Boston's home for Essential Sports Hub headline presented by Celsius Energy Drinks.
The Boston Red Sox need a new third baseman. Again, Alex Bregman signed with the Chicago Cubs 5 years, $175 million. So where does that leave Boston? The only team yet to sign a major league free agent this offseason. And after their 10-2 win over the Rangers yesterday, quick turnaround for the Bruins, facing the Penguins at 5 p.m. today. Puck drop at 5 p.m. on our sister station, 102.5. Ryan Johnston and Bob Beers will have pregame beginning at 4:30 p.m. on 102.5. Bills-Jaguars late in the third quarter. Bills with a lead 13-7. If Buffalo wins, they go to Denver to face the Broncos. If the Jaguars pull out a win, they come to New England to face the Patriots. We'll have more from that game coming up. And these Sports Hub headlines are brought to you by Boston Prolotherapy. Don't let joint pain keep you off the course or trail. Eliminate that pain with Dr. Franke of Boston Prolotherapy. I'm George Balekji with 98.5 The Sports Hub. Your next sports update coming up in an hour.
Boston Talk Sports.
Trade break May. We all know what, but we won't say what. Yeah, worst take on these airwaves in the last 24 hours.
We may not take a call today.
The Sports Hub. The Bruins, the Celtics, the Patriots, the Sox, the Revs, and you. We're Boston's home for sports. 98.5 The
You had a pretty ugly mug, so we're dealing with that.
I disagree.
I'm going to be leaving here at 5 o'clock. Drive down to Gillette. It's going to be an awesome game. We all know 8:15 now.
Yeah.
Just suddenly changed.
By the time you get there, it'll be 8:25.
Yep. And then cover the game, write a column, work with Doug, our guy Zach Cox, of course the Celtics is coming down, and then leave there probably close to 4 a.m. Film review tomorrow or locker clean out. Podcast with Mike Giardi. It's a long stretch, but it's the best freaking time of the year. You know what I mean? Like, we can sleep later this week.
Nothing better than playoff football. Not even sex.
It's
close.
It's close, though. I think we've had some mixed callers. No one has come out outright except for the guy who was citing anthropologically. That's not really correct. Man, come on. You were calling into the Sports Hub. Let's talk about something you've not had here in New England in 4 years. Okay, something that is just going to last longer, frankly, and bring you to places that you can otherwise you can't get. Playoff football.
You know what you can't talk about at work on Monday? The sex you had. You know what you can talk about?
I mean, you can if you want that to be your last day at work. This is like the Seinfeld, but PG-13 rated R version of picking your nose to get out of something, which, by the way, did once in college. That's a story for another day, but continue. Yeah, you could talk about playoff football.
And what you loved seeing from the Patriots. What I love is that, as we've talked about in depth, for what could be the recipe to success for the Patriots and that offense matching up with the Chargers, what's great for this Patriots team and their offense, at least, Andrew, is that their strengths with a quarterback who we've seen through the regular season, but you trust him in clutch points throughout the season against the Buccaneers, Sunday night against the Bills in that first win, what he's been able to do in high-pressure moments, how they've been able to run the ball the second half of the season, especially the last 4 or 5 games, as you've written about. That is what creates a deep playoff run. Can your game travel? And no matter who the opponent is, can you answer them? Now, the teams they can face in the different types of defenses, that's where it gets interesting. But hey, if it's today, we're going to keep it short, dink and dunk, no deep ball because the defense is good, but we have the good slot receivers underneath and run game to get by. And then next week it's deep ball and smash mouth football. They can do that. That's what's important with this Patriots team too. That's why I come back to my eyes are on the defense. And the success or failure of the Patriots in the playoffs falls on the defense.
I think it's fair. And you get into very cliched territory here pretty quickly, right? When you start talking about, got to run the ball. Got to bring your defense. Defense travels. January, it's cold. It's hard-nosed. And okay, that's true, but no one's tuning in right now for me to say the same things everybody else is. I'll tell you something, though, about that defense, the way that they can overcome being what's been a below-average unit most of the year. Do exactly what you did versus Miami. And I understand the Dolphins are not going to come with you to wherever you're going to play games next should you win tonight.
Quinn Ewers.
No, I think Quinn Ewers is going to be on beach somewhere. And the Dolphins stink. They don't even have a head coach, by the way. What you need to do defensively is you just need to win the big moments. High leverage situations. Your red zone stops. A turnover here or there. The Patriots have not been good at generating turnovers, but they amped up their time in practice and effort in practice to do this because they understand what you and I see. Down to down, they're not going to force the issue often enough to win. Offenses over time are going to drive the field in them. They're going to get where they want to go. The red zone has been a red carpet if you are playing the Patriots defense. But if you get a stop here or there in the way that the old bad Patriot defenses the Brady era did, you're good situationally. That'll be enough. And if you throw in a turnover, you don't have to survive most of the possessions, right? That's your shortcut. The defensive version of explosive plays are going to be getting those turnovers and negative plays. So you need to win situationally. You give up 400 yards, fine. If you get 2-3 turnovers, it's a good day at the office. Offensively, and this is the part that also leans a little bit more cliche, but we understand Drake May has to play well. You need explosive runs. Not because they're good, though they are. It's because this, just like the defense, it's not good enough where the offensive line can just lean on an opponent and just wear them down.
Yeah. What
What you're winning with is what you saw again versus Miami, which is strange that your season finale against a bad JV Dolphins team is the roadmap, but it's true. Ramondre Stevenson, 56-yard run in the opening drive. Ramondre Stevenson, touchdown run of over 30 yards in the second half. You get those two things, you win the big moments with your run game and with your defense. The passing game is going to be the most consistent, the best part of your team. What can you do around them to support them? You don't have to be as good, but you have to be as good when your best is needed in those high leverage moments.
And if you can keep this where the pressure's off the defense and your offense can pull through, if the Bills hold on, they're going to go to Denver. Steelers, Texans, C.J. Stroud, and old Aaron Rodgers, I like this defense's chances against those offenses and those quarterbacks. Let's get back to the phone line, 617-779-0985. Let's start with Cody in North Smithfield. Better, sex or football? Cody, what's your answer?
Hey, gentlemen, great job. My one comment on what's better, playoff football or sex. If I had the choice of sex tonight or going to this game, I'm going to this game.
Yeah.
Let's go, Pats!
Cody! See, that's a listener to a sports talk radio station. This is what I'm talking about. Embrace debate. Sex or playoff football?
You know what I've been doing? I've been overthinking the question. And Cody put it simply put. What could you do tomorrow, the day after, the rest of the year? Sex. What do you only have one shot of? Because you don't know what's going to happen tonight. Playoff football.
Can I ask you, what have you been doing then when I've said 7 times that this is the first home playoff game in 7 years? If you just is that like very selective listening and tuning out?
No, I
like sex too.
Yeah.
Jadedness, I guess.
Okay.
Which I need to get away from.
Now, I will know.
Take it for granted. That's it.
For the record, I have not actually declared my opinion on this one way or another. And it's not because I know my wife has at least been listening periodically. But as I said at the front end, this is unfortunately work for me. And there's no real equivalent because baseball series go 7 games. Playoff football is one big night for everything. All at once. But I do think it's a worthy question. So that's why I keep pushing it.
I need to get an answer out of you before we're done, though. All right, let's go to Jacob in Peabody. Jacob, what's up, my man?
What's up, guys? How you doing?
Good. How are you, Jacob?
Listen, you know what's going to happen tonight?
What?
Pats are going to go, and they're going to win by 25. Broken Justin Herbert, little lad McConkey are not going to come into Foxborough and beat the New England Patriots. For the last 18 weeks, all the Patriots know how to do is win. Let's fucking go, boys.
Oh.
And Jacob, thank you very much. People's champ with that dump.
Stream wins.
Stream wins on that one. He's pumped up.
He's pumped up. But
thank God he was calling about the football game.
Yeah.
And not your
football is the F word
question.
we wanted. Yes, that's true.
I want the fans lubed up around this time, though, or 3, 4 o'clock. Yeah, sounds about right.
You know what, though? He brought up Lad McConkey, which we remember the last time the Chargers came here, yeah? 40-7. The game that ultimately got Gerard Mayo fired as the Crafts are sitting up there steaming, going, all right, we're pulling the trigger. Let's call Mike Vrabel, get him on the phone tomorrow. We'll start this ball rolling. Like, everyone had lamented that. Maybe it's just because Jalen Polk is gone. It doesn't mean the miss was any less of a whiff by the Patriots whiffing on him. Just think about how much less that hurts that you're not even thinking about Lad McConkey in the second-round pick because of how good everything else has been from this football team. And not only do you expect to win, but the receivers have picked up. The offensive line has outperformed. Drake May, without question, no one expected an MVP season. Just the gutter of football depression that you were stuck in over 12 months ago to where you are now is astounding. Just thinking about that one little Lad McConkey, as our guy Jake said.
Because if it was the other way, all we'd be doing is stewing over Lad is not catching passes for the Pats.
Yeah, and even if he was having a slightly better season like he did last year, no one's stewing about it anymore. You're fine with it. That one player and that pick in that trade doesn't inspire the same self-loathing or Elliott Wolf, wanting to hunt him down with pitchforks because of, frankly, a good job that Elliott Wolf has done since then, and everything Mike Vrabel has brought. It's just an amazing turnaround. I do love the echo of the game that ended the Gerard Mayo era, now being the first playoff game of the Mike Vrabel era. It's cool, man. Someone should write about this.
Someone should.
Do you know anybody?
A guy that works at the Boston Herald. Guy or two.
That guy is coming up at 4 o'clock, Doug Kyed.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You're assigning the work to Kyed. I like it.
We have one more. Hugh has been waiting, I think, a while. Can we pull up our guy, Hugh?
Let's do Hugh Sean. Hugh, what's up, brother?
Yes, I think the Patriots going to win and 24-0. I have brother telling me they're going to win the Super Bowl this year.
All right.
24-0 Super Bowl win from Hugh. I like it. Let's do one more. Mike on the Pats game tonight, and he says Drake May, he thrives under pressure. What you got for us, Mike?
Here we go. Yeah, guys, first to address your question on sex or playoff football, I always like to say, what would Drake May do? Drake May is not having sex tonight. He's going to bring a win back to Boston tonight. And let me just tell you this, guys. Playoff debut for Drake May, it's going to be tough for him. Maybe the nerves going. This kid's composure. I think he has his best game of the year tonight. I think he goes for 350 yards. Hunter Henry gets in the end zone. Run game's going to be buzzing. Let's go, boys. New England's back. We're getting that win tonight. I guarantee it.
Oh,
I love that.
My man is buzzing. Hunter Henry's not buzzing yet. He might be right, but my guy Mike is buzzing.
He has to be in lot 7 of Gillette, 20 Bud Lights deep. And, between that answer and everything we've heard on the phones, without getting an answer, we're getting it. Everyone's picking football over sex. Playoff football
except for the first
sex.
people called in. But yeah, it's also, I don't think we can confidently say, especially if you went to Drake May's not having sex tonight. I will tell you, I will not inquire with the one question I'll get at the press conference tonight. But if his wife gets to have Bakemas around Christmas time, Christmas is over. This could be Sexmas if Drake May chooses so, no? This is the biggest game of his life.
For multiple reasons, apparently. This is getting a little weird on me now. We'll take a quick break here on 98.5 Sports Hub. George Balekji, Andrew Callahan. We'll be back with your phone calls after this break.
Boston's home for sports. What game? It all happens here. 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Do you think this is kind of more of a splash in the pan season for Drake May, or do you expect this to be closer to the standard for what we'll see from him moving forward?
Well, the standard is hard. If you have the highest completion percentage over expected in the NGS history, I'm not going to say that that's the standard, right?
That's fair.
And things go wrong, you lose players, the offensive line could be more hurt, he could get hurt, so I hate to say that, but I think in the NFL, but I think he's shown pretty consistently he's going to be a top 5 quarterback as long as he plays, unless something crazy happens. Especially because, just the physical tools combined with the mental ones are so special and so rare. But, that doesn't mean you don't give it to him now.
That was me, Kynes, with Taylor Kyles on CLNS. Patriots. Taylor does a great job. Mina knows ball, knows the NFL. I love that because all the talk's been about around the MVP conversation. Matt Stafford, Drake May. And what we've seen is a sign of who's going to win MVP is a first-team All-Pro quarterback. All but 3 times, the guy that's won MVP is first team. 2024, Josh Allen, Steve McNair, and John Elway. 3 times in the history of MVPs and All-Pros. At the end, what she says, because that's an argument people are saying, Drake May's going to get one. Matt Stafford deserves it. Matt Stafford is due. I hate that conversation in any sports context. Well, they're due, so they're going to win. He's due, so he should get the award. Who is the most valuable to his team? And what happened since last night, Drake May, second-team All-Pro quarterback. Marcus Jones, second-team All-Pro punt returner, losing out to Chimere Dike of Tennessee. Good rookie. Crazy. But that lays it out of what we think is going to happen because, correct me if I'm wrong, same 50 voters for All-Pro or the same 50 voters for the MVP award, right?
I believe so. I'm not among them, so I can't verify that, but the AP handles all of it, and there is the same voters for all the major awards.
Matt Stafford, the Rams would not be where they are without him. Puka Nacua and Devontae Adams, elite receivers, they wouldn't have played at this level without him. The Patriots are, simply put, a 4-6 win team without Drake May. The Rams, with that talent on offense, that defense, that head coach, they're still getting into the playoffs. And what Drake May has done behind a banged-up, a young offensive line with a 25th, maybe 20th best receiving room in the NFL, and the jump he's made in his game, we've seen it day in, day out, week in, week out. He's been the offense. He's been the reason they're winning games. Because he will get another, because he's only 23, that's not the reason to not give someone the MVP.
So I'm of two minds on this. And let's be clear, my MVP pick is Drake May. But when we talk about Drake May, I can't give him credit because his GM did a crappier job than Matthew Stafford surrounding him with talent. That's outside of his control. And stuff that happened, frankly, like before he got here.
Yeah.
You know, missed draft picks, bad trades, this and that. So I'm not going to punish Matthew Stafford because Les Snead is good at his job. What that does, though, is provide context to a conversation that says, okay, Matthew Stafford's got a lot more touchdowns. Well, why is that? He's thrown a lot of them from the 1 yard line because he can just throw a jump ball to Devontae Adams, who's going to catch more often than not those footballs and score those touchdowns. Touchdowns are important, don't get me wrong. But when you understand the context of who he's throwing to, when he's throwing to them, you start to ask yourself, okay, how much of that, those inflated traditional numbers tell me something that advanced numbers, which pretty much all paint Drake May as being the more valuable player and the better quarterback, aren't telling me? Because those numbers have more context than your total number of touchdowns. And what those account for, where you are in the field, sometimes your schedule. Is he scrambling? Is he avoiding sacks? What is he doing to create an account for offense relative to the other players around him that Matt Stafford's not doing? So when I consider the question is, okay, you could talk about value, and I think that's fair. It's the MVP. Who's driving and creating and generating more winning for his team? Drake May is the answer. And even some of the other, we could stick with the traditional metrics aside from touchdowns. Better yards per attempt, higher completion percentage, passer rating, all that stuff. I get that there's a volume conversation, and that volume is important for the Rams, but Drake May is the quarterback that I would choose right now, is who's played the position a little bit better. It's just Matthew Stafford's had more snaps, and partly because Drake May's just got to sit in some of these games. But all the advanced metrics in the record and the stuff that I look at on tape, I pick Drake May as the MVP, but it's close.
Stafford has looked unbelievable at points this season, though.
The other thing I'll say, too, though, is this is a regular season award.
Yes.
So no one's mind should change based on what happened yesterday, for better or for worse, right? Look, and if May lays an egg, oh, there goes the MVP. Like, the point about, the, what do they call it? Career Achievement Award MVP that you just described, right? Mm-hmm. That's not, I'm with you, but it's a relevant point in that we know these voters in this voting body is going to be influenced by stuff like that.
Storylines.
Because you see how
narrative.
often you don't see a repeat MVP because there's a boredom here, right? Like Lamar Jackson didn't win despite having a better case statistically than Josh Allen.
Yep.
Because at some point you just don't want to vote for the same guy over and over again. That's not fair. That's not right. But that's who's voting. That's the world that we live in. And Josh Allen had a close enough case, so I think that's why he got it. And you can make the same case I just did for May. Well, Lamar Jackson's not driving as much winning when he's got Derrick Henry and a great defense and everything the Ravens had last season. But Josh Allen is doing more with less. Okay, fine. But I think Lamar Jackson was better, and that's why he got first-team All-Pro, but also why Josh Allen got MVP. So there are cases both ways, right? Do you take that as an encouraging sign that, okay, if Drake May got first-team All-Pro, yeah, he might win. But I think the margin's close enough where you could have voters be of two minds like I am and say, Matthew Stafford had the better total season in terms of numbers, but the value, we're going to give Drake May the MVP.
You're a very understanding, optimistic person. You know that, Andrew?
I try.
Because that's not going to happen. Matt Stafford's going to get MVP. Will I be happy to see him win that award? Yes, because he's been a dog since he's been in the league. And it will add to his already Hall of Fame resume. If he gets a second Super Bowl, he launches from top 20 all time to top 10 in quarterbacks as played in the history of the game, in my opinion.
Whoa!
Yeah.
Top 10 all time?
Yes. He's been that good for that long. He's been trapped in Detroit, gets out, wins a ring, and even the level he's playing at this season, at an MVP caliber season with a lot of talent. And it's also, take away the stats, take away the touchdowns, watching him play the position, he's one of the best to ever do it, by far. That throw he had last night for the game-winning touchdown to Colby Parkinson, that's not a one-off. That's what Matt Stafford's done his whole career. He had Megatron in the beginning. Where did that lead to? Then he wins a ring in L.A. with Sean McVay. His success, same way as Tom Brady, doesn't happen in a vacuum. It's not all on him.
So if he's top 10, and this is just such sports talk radio,
All right.
which, by the way, the clip that we played of me at Kimes talking to Taylor Kyles, and I think the Patriots Daily Podcast, listen to it at the CLNS Media Network, asked, is Drake May going to be top 5 mostly the rest of his career? Her answer was yes. This is relevant to me because if you're alleging that Matt Stafford is top 10.
Oh, nice.
Has Matt Stafford been top 5 most of his career? Like, you look at all of his seasons. How many of those seasons that Matt Stafford, I think, was the number 1 pick in 2010, how many of those years was he top 5? Because I would allege that it's fewer than half of them. Which, to me, if you're not top 5 for most of the seasons that you played, how am I going to put you top 10 historically? Because we go Brady, Manning, Breeze, Rodgers, Joe Montana. There's 5 easy off the top of my head. Then you get into an Elway conversation. Dan Marino gets you to 7. So now I just need 3 more, knowing I'm absolutely leaving off some other people.
What are you going to go, like Roger Staubach? Who would you take, Roger Staubach or Matt Stafford?
Okay, I'm not disrespecting Roger Staubach, who played in a
But
very
that's going to
different
be
era.
the all-time conversation. Brett Favre, Matt Stafford.
Brett Favre.
Favre.
Stafford.
No.
That interception machine in Brett Favre.
You know what that says, though, to bring this back to May, is that that's his trajectory. So long as he's healthy. And this
Top
is getting,
20 combo.
This is getting so far ahead. It all goes without saying. But listen, it's a Sunday. The Patriots are playing their first home playoff game in 6 years. You are probably imbibing. Let us imbibe over here talking about Drake May.
Any chances that they do co-MVPs? Lala 97, Favre and Barry Sanders?
I hope not.
Or 03, Manning and McNair?
No. Name an MVP.
I mean, there's a chance. But
Make a
I hope not.
decision.
As we vibe about Drake May,
I hope they call Andrew as a 51st voter if that happens.
I would love that. I would love a 51st vote in a lot of places, but this is one of them. If he's top 5 like Mina thinks, and I have as much respect for her as pretty much anyone in this business, that means he's on the trajectory that you just believe Matt Stafford's on as top 10 quarterback of all time.
I'm not afraid to say that. At my prior place of work...
Proud of you for not being afraid.
Appreciate you, my friend. At my prior place of work, after season 1, I was saying it was terrible, but understand the situation. The head coach, the roster, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I said Drake May will one day be a $500 million man. It's where the market's going with quarterbacks. It's what he's going to become. It's his talent level. It's his ceiling. And it's also what I, in my spot, have read about and heard about from around the NFL. You're crazy. You're insane. That's what it is. Look what he's been this season. He has that ceiling. Structure matters. Support matters. Josh Allen, year in, year out, since about year 3, has been a top 5 guy at the position. Maybe give or take a year or two. It took him a while, but it took the right OC to develop him and quarterbacks coach and Brian Dable, and it took the right system, him being in Joe Brady's system. Drake May's certainly on that trajectory. I don't balk at that one bit. And you hear the conviction that Mina Kimes said it. That shows around league circles, and I know you've probably heard it. I don't want to put words in your mouth, but that's what people see. And it's also, too, there's a lot of those people know more than I do, right? And that's what I say for the most part when a decision is made. There's a GM who knows more than I do. The owner, they don't really know more than we do, I think.
Fans with controlling interests, yeah. Aside from what's her name in Indianapolis is wearing a headset. Did you see that? Jim Irsay's daughter?
Yeah, I love that. It's just totally not projecting or trying to. But anyway, when teams were banging on the table to trade up to number 3 to get Drake May, a Kevin O'Connell in Minnesota, other guys around the league, same thing with a Brian Dable and a Joe Shane in New York. That says what they see in Drake May, and everyone understood it would be a patience game. Certainly so. If he stays on the trajectory that he was the second best quarterback in the league this year. And if he stays on that and continues top 3, top 5 at the position, and this was in a year when Burrow was injured most of the year, Mahomes and that Kansas City offense wasn't firing on all cylinders, Lamar Jackson was injured. Okay, that's still top 5, top 6. He certainly can finish in the same conversation I see in a regard to a Matt Stafford. I go back to, I think Stafford's top 10. I do. If he gets that second Lombardi, he gets that second ring. You weren't ready for that.
You can't do it. No.
Everywhere you went today, you weren't thinking that was
he's not there. No. I thought I would be bringing the little crazy, the fun, asking if playoff football is better than sex. And I've got
By the way,
for our listeners.
617-779-0985. What's better, playoff football or sex? I thought you were going
to have sex with a kicker. No offense, kickers.
No offense, kickers. Jesus. I mean, if his name's Dicker the Kicker.
I'm going to stop right there. Let's go to the phone lines.
Coming tonight, Gillette Stadium.
Dale, calling from Virginia about Bill Belichick. What's up, Dale?
Hey, man, what's up? I'm a lifelong Patriots fan. I grew up in New England. I was actually in the stands the day Drew Bledsoe got hit, and I remember looking at my best friend there and going, who the hell is number 12? And he looks at the program, and he goes, Tom Brady, backup quarterback, Michigan. And I literally threw the program on the ground, walked out of the stadium, and said, we're freaking done, you know? And the funny thing about that is how everything comes full circle. Tom Brady was magic, and I just believe it was lightning in a bottle. And I hate the fact that Belichick gets almost no credit anymore. I love Brady, don't get me wrong, but man, Belichick was a defensive genius. If you remember he's the one that shut down Buffalo. He's the one that shut down the Rams. He's a very smart man. He's not great with the media and stuff. I get that. Tom Brady has more personality. He's better looking and stuff.
All right, Dale. I understand your point. I think it's fair. Today, though, is not about Brady or Belichick. It's about Drake May and Mike Vrabel. And Belichick, frankly, has answered the question that we've been asking all show. Playoff football or sex, lately saying sex too often. So that guy does not get a place at the table as we were all celebrating the first playoff game here since Tom Brady left, and it was mostly Bill Belichick's fault. He'll be back. He'll be in the Hall of Fame. He'll look more handsome than you think in the red jacket, and we'll see how maybe his gold jacket goes this summer sitting next to Robert Kraft, a day that, frankly, I cannot wait for. But the point is, today is about today. So do you have anything today on the Chargers or Drake May or Mike Vrabel and how handsome any of them are?
My question to you guys, and I'll leave at this point, is do you guys think, because a third of the league is out of coaches right now, do you think Bill Belichick will get a call from any one of these teams, and do you think he should? And I'll hang up. Thanks.
No and no. I really don't think he'll get a call because it's been that big of a mess at UNC. And should he? Again, no. Because what was he at the end of New England? What was his reputation becoming as a leader, as a head coach? What a throw by Josh Allen. Bills taking a lead now, 19-17 over the Jags. 9 minutes left in the fourth.
Dawson Knox, kid, underrated. He's going to be a problem if they come back to Foxborough. Who's going to cover Dawson Knox? Jalen Hawkins, he's got 4 picks. He's pretty good. But Dawson Knox just had a touchdown to go ahead in the fourth quarter. No, Belichick.
For a guy from Connecticut, great Boston accent, AC.
Listen, man, born in Mass, generations of family born in Boston. My daughter, born in Boston, took a few generations. We came back. We were hoping to stay, and not just after a few Coors Lights. Look, Belichick, I don't think is going to get a call. I don't think he deserves a call. I think the Falcons would be right to feel some regret having already fired Raheem Morris instead of picking Bill Belichick.
Definitely.
But think about how many winning seasons Bill Belichick has had since the pandemic.
One. Mac Jones.
If you did a blind resume test, like we're comparing teams in March Madness, they've got so many wins versus the top 25, this and that, scoring, point differential. If you had a coach's resume with 1 winning season since 2020, who wants to hire that guy? And I get the resume. This is no disrespect for a guy that I call the greatest coach of all time and will, so long as I'm covering football, watching football. That's who he is. That's what he deserves. But as of late, we all know he lost his fastball. So it's not going to happen.
2 things on the blind resume. How many winning seasons, to your point, since 2020? How many quarterbacks developed? 1 and 0. That'll be it. And that's what gets head coaches hired now.
I mean,
that's what got Cliff Kingsbury a job. No, quarterbacks developed.
Gio Lopez is in for a big comeback year down at Chapel Hill. You wait.
$5 million in NIL.
All that Saudi money that Michael Lombardi is going to fly back on this plane. Come on now.
I hope Bill Belichick stays at UNC as long as possible, because once he's gone, that means Mike Lombardi's going to be back doing media work, and no one wants that. George Balekji, Andrew Callahan on the Sports Hub 98.5. We'll get back to your calls after this quick break, 617-779-0985.
Boston's home for sports. Patriots. Yeah, we got that covered. 98.5 The Sports Hub.
George Balekji, Andrew Callahan on the Sports Hub 98.5. 617-779-0985. What's your playoff game day superstition? What's your home playoff game day routine? It's been a while in New England. 4 years since in the playoffs. 2021. 6 years since a home playoff game. 7
since they celebrated one here. Chargers came in, punched him in the mouth. I think Sony Michel's footprints are still on the backs of all those defenders. Maybe Gus Bradley. It was like, we'll play dime. 6 DBs. Who's that? Was that James Devlin? We're good. Nope, not good. Bulldozed.
Run all over.
They won 41-28, and I think most of the Chargers' points were in the fourth quarter. It was a butt whooping.
617-779-0985.
I have an update, by the way.
Oh.
I've been endeavoring to get some player input
on
our question of the day.
What's the question of the day, Andrew, by the way?
Is playoff football better than sex? And we need to sit with this because it's been a while, 4 years since they were on the road at Buffalo, and that is something you wanted to stop before it was over. And 7 years ago, when we were celebrating a win here in the divisional round, something you wanted to keep going as long as possible.
Wait. What did you want to keep going as long as possible?
The playoff football, which at that time was better than sex.
What about the sex?
No.
Keep it going?
No.
Good. It's been 7.
Former Patriots captain said, "What say you?" He goes, "Tough one. Winning them, yes, meaning the playoff football games are better than sex.
Yeah.
But watching them, he says no."
Makes sense. Again, watching them. Is there context after watching them, or is it just what is he watching?
The playoff football.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I didn't. Or in this scenarios,
George,
you brought up the question.
Look, I'm going to take us off-roading, but we need to stay on the road that I've chosen. If you go off-roading on your own, I can't bring you back. We're gonna be lost here.
I just want to remind everyone, I did not bring up this question. It was not vetted by me, run by me. AC, who is a consummate professional.
A couple texts out to some other former Patriots to see what they say. Mind you, these are also people that they would describe as consummate professionals, but we're peeling back the curtain on everybody today.
Love it.
So we'll see what they say.
You have another one coming, or you sent them out?
No, we're still waiting.
All
but we got that one back pretty quick, and I think this is a real debate. I mean, look, some of these guys have won multiple Super Bowls. So, like, I'm not even asking for would you rather win a Super Bowl or get lucky on a Tuesday. This is, like, just playoff football. Watching it, which is what we all doing, and they're like, playing it's better.
Oh, definitely. It has to be. That, I'm coming from the standpoint of watching it, being there in person. Which one's better? Playing in it and winning? Nothing better. Let's go back to the phone lines. 617-779. Go to my man, Ken. Ken, what's your playoff game day tradition? People's Champ. I'm getting seized up on the phone line. Can you bring on Ken? There we go. Ken, what's up, my man?
Hey, boys. I have a Sam Adams with breakfast because on the bottom of the label it says Brewer Patriot.
I love that.
And nothing tastes like a Sam Adams with bacon.
What a way to start. Most Boston
Brian,
tradition.
What happens next? That sounds like an easy pass to a nap.
What happens next is I listen to you guys.
Oh, my God.
So it's all good, man.
Very good. All right. Thanks for the call.
That was Ken. And now we got our guy, Brian, from Rentham. All right, Brian, sex or playoff football? What's better?
I would say a combination of both.
No partner is letting you have playoff football on in the background while you are enjoying some afternoon delight. You can't have some divided attention.
Well,
the biggest,
says you.
Biggest
Well,
day of the year.
what if my girl's a Chargers fan?
Well, she's not going to want to watch her team get her brains beat in. You know what I mean? It's going to ruin her day. One of those.
It's going to be all on me. It's going to be all on me at the end of the day if the Patriots win because I'll be super happy and she'll just be as submissive as possible.
And then you got to pull through in the clutch. That's what it comes down to. All right, Brian, appreciate that call.
I don't like all the fence sitting that we're getting. Like you're sitting next to your wife. If you're sitting next to your wife and you're calling it, just don't call in. Just take a break. I have to go to the bathroom.
To the other room.
I have to make a quick call. It's my boss. If you want to let us know, do it. But we got to commit. I mean, Chris Cotillo was the first defender of this, and we're going to have Doug Kyed on here in a second, who might not pick up now that he probably has heard what we're going to ask of him, in addition to some serious questions. Speaking of serious questions, what have we not covered do you think is going to be most important to today? Because let's recap for the people who are hanging out with us. We talked about Drake May, what this game means. You're a made guy if you win this game. You win a game that Justin Herbert in 6 seasons has not been able to do, despite being a top 6 quarterback. Mike Vrabel, this is proof that your program is exactly where it is, where it wants to be, and this team is who it says it is. Soft schedule, be damned. Bulking up offensively. I think they're going to throw a lot of play action. You're going to see those jumbo personnel packages that they've run 23% of the time and are averaging 8 yards a carry to revive this run game like Lazarus walking out of the tomb with shoulder pads and bad intentions. Defensively, you're probably going to need a turnover or 2. It's a lot of stuff. What are we leaving out?
Defensively, you're going to need to get to the quarterback. You're going to need to put pressure on Justin Herbert. You're going to need to help out your defensive backs. And that's another touchdown for the Jaguars. Wow, this game is good. 23-20 now. Travis Etienne with the touchdown for the Jags in Jacksonville. So reminder, in this one, which is such an interesting game to watch, Bills win, they go to Denver. Jaguars win, they come to New England if the Patriots win. So we're getting a little ahead of ourselves. It's also, for Josh McDaniels, has to be on his A game. Not get too cute. Understand and not overthink what wins in the playoffs, which we've seen him do time and time again. But this time it's with a inexperienced QB making his playoff debut as good as he's been, and an inexperienced offense for the most part as well. To me, it's affecting the quarterback. Now I'm sounding like Mike Vrabel at his introductory presser. But getting Justin Herbert without blitzing, because Spillane's back, which is huge, but can Harold Landry be effective? And running the ball and beating up the defense. All right, what's another text you got? Let's hear it.
We have another former Patriots captain text back. I said, I need a former captain's opinion. He might have played defense and has the same haircut as me. A lot of crying, laughing emojis. He goes, a conference championship win, yes, better than sex.
Wild card division.
Mind you, this guy had about 5 of those. I said, what about just watching your team win? Quote, hell no. Hell no.
If they're telling us, but like that's the difference of being in it and doing it compared to just watching it. For that player to say, yes, conference championship win, that's huge. That's way better than sex. But sitting on the couch or wherever that former player may be now, just watching it, no, it's not fun to watch. But they've been there, done that.
What does it say about the people watching the players that you're experiencing more joy than they might be, unless they're doing it and winning it? And even then, it's close.
Because they've been there on the field. They've done that. They've experienced it firsthand. You cannot match that high once you put the pads on and you're doing it. Nothing should be able to beat that. Is there more to it?
Doing what?
You're still doing what? What are we doing here?
Doing it. This is open-ended.
Winning a playoff football game.
Still waiting on a couple more texts.
Okay. As AC,
it's just swung back now. We had initial, no, it's not better. Then a lot of people call in. A couple definitely, as you said, from lot 7, probably 7 deep.
Well, what I think is what's jumping out to me is that the definitive from the fans is playoff football is better than sex. And we're talking from watching it, being in the stands, experiencing it, not playing in it, watching it, wherever it may be. Your house, on the stands. From the players, no, playoff football, if you're playing in it, is better than sex. The difference, it's all perspective. And like our guy Brian called in saying if his girl's a Chargers fan, if the Patriots win, what does he do?
I'm still recovering from that, by the way.
He has to be clutch in the last 2 minutes like Drake May. That's it.
What if my girl's a Chargers fan?
Then she's like the girlfriend I had who went to a different school when I was growing up. She doesn't exist.
Can you just think about the conversations happening in a car right now between a boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, and wife?
A lot of side eyes and silence.
Where they don't have the moxie to call in. The girlfriend's asking, what do you think's better? Huh?
A lot of lying going on in that car.
Let me put Andrew in the car. I'm asking you, what do you think's better, huh? What's better?
You want Callahan in the car?
Yeah.
You want to bring him back?
Oh, yeah.
Hey, guys, I got a couple thoughts on Jim Harbaugh. That khaki-wearing mother bleeper who is as pale as anyone who's ever lived in Iceland, likes his milk, that vitamin D. Harbaugh, how about you just walk outside? That's how you get your vitamin D. You just get a little sunshine so I don't have to lose my eyesight every time I'm looking at you. You want to pound the rock. You wanted Michigan, bunch of cheetahs. Okay? You're going to come in here with the LA Chargers, and you're going to get your ass kicked. That's what's going to happen. And you can go sip on your vitamin D milk on your flight home, wondering what happened, why you wet your khakis on national television? The answer is Mike Vrabel pants you in those khakis, and that man drinks whole milk, and that's why you lost.
That's beautiful. Born in Boston, in Massachusetts.
We lost a little from
Connecticut.
Callahan in the car there, but we'll patch him up.
That is as consistent as it'll get, topped off with having a Sam Adams for breakfast. What's your home playoff game day routine, and what's better? Playoff football, watching it, your team winning the game, or sex? 617-779-0985.
Did you drink the milk after?
Boston's home for sports. 98.5. We're Boston's home for sports. 98.5 The Sports Hub.
George Balekji, Andrew Callahan, back on 98.5 The Sports Hub. 617-779. Call in. Bills Jaguars. Jags taking a 24-20 lead. If Jacksonville wins and the Patriots win, they come to Foxborough next week. If Buffalo wins and the Patriots win, well, then Buffalo goes to Denver and the Pats get the winner of Steelers-Texans. This Jaguars team is interesting, AC. They could be a challenge.
The first person in years to call me AC.
It's just your initials flow so well.
It always catches me off guard, like the college teacher I had. It's like, oh yeah, AC. It's fine.
I'm also coming off like I'm your boy that you've known for like 20 years. AC, what's up, bro?
You got such a smile, though. You could call people like, yeah, borderline stuff. And I think they'd be like, yeah, it's just George. It's fine. Look, the Jags, yeah, interesting. They have been arguably the best team in the AFC over the second half of the season, and certainly the most balanced. Offense, defense, even throwing the ball, running the ball. I said a few weeks ago, that's a team I would want coming in to play the Patriots. And I don't have full regrets, but there's a little bit more conversation than I thought I'd be having, because my point about who do you want the Patriots to see in the playoffs, and this is before the Chargers were scheduled to come in, as they're kicking off now in about 4 hours, was it came down to the Bills and Texans for me. And I asked myself, if you're the Patriots, would you rather trust yourself to stop Josh Allen on a game-winning drive? Because the game is going to be close at the end of the game. Or would you rather ask Drake May to go against the Texans defense, which is probably the best unit left in the conference? And my answer, time and again, was I would rather ask Drake May to go down against Houston than to ask myself to stop Josh Allen, because that's how much respect I have for Josh Allen, the best player in the AFC. Now I'm not so sure.
Okay.
Houston, of course, is not infallible. And there's some stuff offensively, bad offensive line. C.J. Stroud loses his marbles a couple of times a game. But the balance that they have is a little bit more threatening to me, even as Josh Allen goes down now and makes me look like a fool in Jacksonville. Which, by the way, if you're not at the TV, first of all, keep us on, but get to one. Because we cannot tell you exactly what's happening on this game because we don't have the rights to the game. So the Jaguars are definitely not up 24-20 with just over a minute left in 3rd and 4, and somebody called timeout.
And the Bills definitely don't have the ball on the Jaguars, let's say, 15-yard line.
Yeah.
This is not happening.
So they're not on the doorstep with a couple of timeouts left, trying to bleed clock and get the touchdown, which trailing by, again, 24-20, the Bills would get up by 3 if they do get a touchdown. It's a tight spot. This is the situation, though, that I said I don't want to be in if I'm the Patriots. Because if there's any defense that really doesn't deserve your trust in the entire AFC, it's the Patriots' defense as of late. And I know they're getting healthier, but they're worried about Justin Herbert scrambling around today. They're worried about Justin Herbert having all day to throw.
Yeah.
And what you need, honestly, more than a good run defense, even though it's January and you got to run the football, play defense, it's true. You got to affect the other team's quarterback.
Yep.
And I don't have a lot of confidence that the Patriots can do that without blitzing, and that, of course, opens up the door to a lot of problems. So that's where I am. But this is fascinating. I mean, all of these teams are in the same tier, in the same universe as I see it. There's no far and away leader. I mean, look, we're all looking at Denver being like, frauds.
That defense is really good.
They have the best record tied to the Patriots in the conference. Like, if they're frauds, what does that make everybody else?
What are the Bills doing? It's totally not about to be 4th and inches because their receiver tried to go east and west, not north and south, and get the first down. What I look at with this Bills team, and now I feel insane saying this, I'd rather face in this scenario, I'd rather have the Jaguars than the Texans. I'd rather have the Bills than the Texans. It's that Texans defense. And because end of the day, if I'm the Patriots, I want to lean on my strength.
Wait, so
that's my offense.
Rank them for me. The teams from you would least like to see, you're most afraid of, real quick.
The least I want to see, number 1, Texans.
Okay.
Number
Agreed.
2, Jaguars. Number 3, Josh Allen and the Bills.
You're not afraid of Josh Allen.
For 2 reasons. I am afraid of Josh Allen, but I'm not afraid of their defense, and I'm not afraid of Sean McDermott. I would rather face Sean McDermott in a playoff game, having Mike Vrabel and Drake May, than the opposite. We'll take another break here on the Sports Hub, 0985. Andrew Callahan, George Balekji, Doug Kyed of the Boston Herald.
And I think we're going to have possibly a winner of this game after the break, but we'll get to Doug here now first.
Wait, we're going to stay for 2 minutes? People's champ behind the glass is the offensive coordinator in this one calling the shots.
That's inaudible.
That is, and that's on the fly. We're adapting. All right, so it's not 4th and inches for the Bills. They are not in the Jaguars deep in their territory, and they are not down 4 points. This
has to be Josh Allen, I think, who, by the way, also it looked like his ankle was twisted, his leg was bent.
Hand was hurt, too.
Short yardage play. Like, he is the entire operation. They built the whole plan out of Josh Allen. He goes ahead and
moves the chains.
Gets the first down. So the Bills are going to keep going.
Oh.
And he's not done.
Oh, my.
So this is the issue now. Again, that guy,
Just did
for a little while longer is the MVP of the league. The most unstoppable force, unless you have a defense like Houston's that bent about as far as it could, going back almost 2 months on a Thursday, and broke. And speaking of breaking, it appears that Jacksonville just did that on 4th and inches from about the 10. So now the Bills are going to go up, and it's on, you call him T-Law, Trevor Lawrence, who's been good, but like T-Law, as I told you, makes me think of a guy that you discover from a small school in March Madness who's like powering an unknown team to the Elite Eight. Let's just call him Trevor.
I'm not afraid of him in the playoffs.
No.
But that defense for Jacksonville, the balance of their offense, that's what worries me when you think of the defense for the Patriots. And again, my biggest concern, if I'm going with matchups, I want to lean on my strength. And my strength, if I'm the Patriots, is Drake May in the offense.
By the way, the reason that this has been so stilted, granted, not the best broadcast of a broadcast, which is not permitted, by the way, because we're not doing it.
We don't do this full time, too, by the way.
Is Josh Allen gets the first down at 4th and inches and then keeps going, and they're close to the goal line where they have this massive humanity that's now under review. I want to hit pause for a second, and let's just acknowledge this sport that we all love, that people proclaim watching it makes them happier than having sex, is worth several $1 billion when put all together, comes down to moments like this, where I'm watching Deion Dawkins' ass crack and trying to determine if his ass crack keeps Josh Allen's ass crack from hitting the ground, because if Josh Allen's ass crack hits the turf before the goal line, the Bills don't have any points, they don't go ahead, and they could lose the game. But because this rolling mass of humanity with a 330-pound dude who, let's be clear, that's been the whole replay of spinning ass cracks, whose hits the ground first, that decides the fate of these billion-dollar teams and franchises. And I've stalled long enough to get a call here for what looks like will be 1st and goal for the Bills. And boy, do we have a finish. And this is why we love football. This is why we've asked the question and have a debate about it being relative to sex.
And you know what's great about football? I can watch this so intently with you, AC, in the same room, watching on the same screen, and nothing's weird about it.
It's just insane. Like it's just amazing that this is how serious we take our football and how silly it looks like that I just have to stare at the same replay, and it's just which ass crack hit first. That's what this comes down to.
Ass crack.
It's amazing. All right.
That's playoff football. Quick break. Headlines. Got you guys right now.
From the Telefair Tiger Studios, this is Boston's home for sports. Touchdown! The flagship station of the Patriots ruin the Celtics. WBCFM and HD Boston 98.5, the Sports Hub. Beasley Media Group station celebrating 65 years of broadcasting. Sports Hub headlines. Presented by Celsius Energy Drinks.
The Boston Red Sox need a new third baseman again. Alex Bregman signing with the Chicago Cubs, 5 years, $175 million. Boston, the only team yet to sign a major league free agent this offseason. And elsewhere in the divisional round, the Buffalo Bills taking a 26-24 lead over the Jaguars. 1:02 left in the game. If the Bills win, once again, if the Bills win, they go to Denver to face the Broncos. If the Patriots win, they get the victor of Steelers-Texans next week. And after the 10-2 win over the Rangers yesterday, Bruins facing the Pens today. 5 p.m. puck drop on our sister station, Country 102.5. Ryan Johnston, Bob Beers. They have pregame beginning at 4:30, again on 102.5 Country, our sister station. These Sports Hub headlines are driven by the stylish Honda Accord. Head to your local New England Honda dealers to learn more or shop online at newengland.hondadealers.com. I'm George Balekji with 98.5 The Sports Hub. Your next update coming up in Patriots pregame. We'll be right back with Doug Kyed after this.
Takes the snap, rolling to his right. He's being chased by Judon. Drake May on the run for the 5. Gets away.
Drake May knows it.
Boston, he's the best sports city in the world.
98.5 The Sports Hub. When it comes to Boston sports, we're fans just like you. 98.5 The Sports Hub.
And if the Patriots score here with a 31-10 lead, Drake May leave the field for the final time in the regular season, you'd have to think. They're working out of the eye, the young quarterback under center. West over the fullback in front of Travion Henderson. Henry started in motion from the left, reverse direction, hand off. Henderson runs it left and fights his way in. Touchdown, Patriots!
Offense found their way again. Good job mixing it up. Great job by Drake May on that drive. Caps it off with the touchdown, not a field goal. Sit him down. Protect him. Do the right thing.
George Balekji, Andrew Callahan, 98.5 Sports Hub, 617-779-0985. Call in. What's your game day routine for a playoff game for the Pats? What's your prediction? Patriots-Chargers tonight. Kickoff at 8:15. But let's bring them in now. Doug Kyed of the Boston Herald, right-hand man for Andrew Callahan, host of the Patriots Pats Chat podcast. Doug, thanks for taking the time, my man. How we doing?
Doing well. How you doing, George?
Doing great. Love that we're previewing Patriots playoff football, let alone a home playoff game. Chargers, Pats, Herbert, May, Harbaugh against Vrabel. When you've been preparing for this game all week long and been previewing it and doing all your writing, all the hard work you do, what do you think it comes down to when 8:15 rolls around and the game kicks off between the Patriots and the Chargers?
So, really good question. By the way, the Bills just won the playoff game, so they're advancing.
27-24.
I think it's that old, like, what is it, the immovable object versus it's the opposite of that. It's the Patriots pass rush against the Chargers pass protection, especially at left tackle and right tackle. I think that could very well decide the game. If it doesn't wind up mattering for the Chargers, then I think the Chargers are going to win. But if those tackles break down against Harold Landry and Caleb Von Chasen and Milton Williams and Christian Barmore, then I think the Patriots win. I think that's what it really comes down to in this game.
Doug, what are you worried about if you're the Patriots in that, okay, we get a handle on this, we're good, but it's less likely than anything else we can stop or contain this?
Sorry, can you repeat that?
What are you worried about if you're the Patriots?
That's a complicated question.
What are you worried about if you're the Patriots?
If I'm the Patriots, what do I worry about? I worry about not getting off to a big lead in this game because I think that if the Chargers don't need to pass the ball, then I think they can win this game. If they don't need to rely on Justin Herbert, if they don't need to rely on those tackles, then I think that they win this game. I think their run game is strong enough. I think that if they can control the clock, if they can control the momentum of the game, then they're going to win. So I think one of the major keys for the Patriots in this game is to get out to a big lead, which the Patriots offense has been good at so far this season. Drake May and the Patriots offense have been one of the top in the league this season and first half EPA per play. Defense is another story. Obviously, first drives a lot of the season, they've let up touchdowns. So defense has to be in control early, but the offense has to kind of keep doing what they've been doing all season. Don't change the macaroni and cheese, as they've been saying all week.
So in that macaroni and cheese we've seen the last few weeks, it's been the run game for the Pats. It's Ramondre Stevenson and a combination of Travion Henderson. But what about this Patriots offense do you think they'll need to take advantage of? Where will they need to take advantage and really perform well against a good Chargers defense?
Yeah, I mean, the run game is definitely going to be key in this game. I'm not convinced that they'll be able to run the ball as well against the Chargers as they have the last 4 weeks of the season. I think some of that was the fact that they were playing the Jets and they were playing the Dolphins in the cold in Week 18 when the Dolphins defenders are probably just planning their vacations and counting down the hours until they can fly away to a warmer climate. So I think Ramondre Stevenson running well right now. I think Travion Henderson obviously has big playability, but I really don't know if they're going to be able to control the run that much in this game. So I think they're probably going to need to rely on Drake May. Stefon Diggs has to have a big game. He said earlier this season that prime time is his time. He said prime time, my time. So he's been big in prime time games so far this season. And I think they have to hope that Kayshon Boutte can play in this game because if he can't, then you're relying very heavily on Kyle Williams, Efton Chisholm, Jeremiah Webb, Demario Douglas. So, there's a lot of question marks for the Patriots in this one, but Drake May was an MVP candidate for a reason.
Doug, Josh McDaniels, I think his Q rating right now is as high as maybe it's ever been in New England because the offense has exceeded expectations. What could bring that down, though, are a couple questionable calls, understanding most games are really close. What's your level of confidence that, let's say, the run game doesn't go that particularly well for the Patriots here, that he'll have a plan B that can come through tonight?
I'm 99% sure that he's got a plan B. Whether it comes through, obviously, is going to have to, there's a lot of execution that's going to have to be going right for the Patriots in that manner. But, no, I mean, obviously, there's been some questionable play calls at times for Josh McDaniels this season. Sometimes in short yardage, he gets a little bit cute, tries to throw the ball rather than relying on the run game. So I've got a lot of confidence in Josh McDaniels in this game. I mean, I don't think they go 14-3 this season with Ed McDaniels being in his bag and being as reliable as he's been, I think that they will probably try to test the Chargers on the ground early in the game just because that's something they typically like to do, especially coming off of last week where they were able to put a scoring drive together without having Drake May have a passing attempt. But they definitely will have to shift into plan B if that doesn't work.
Will we see Drake May, and do you think in a way of they're going to be intentional with him using his legs in the game plan, or do you think this is a way of if you're going to run the ball, use the running backs, and don't make Drake May take too many hits?
No, I mean, I think that they can pull out all the stops in this game. Obviously, if they get out to an early lead and it looks like they're going to win, then maybe they try to play things a little bit safer. But he's been, obviously there's a storyline early in the season about him not protecting himself well as a runner. He's been much better at that over the second half of the season, and he's still been able to have big plays in the run game. So I'm not sure how many design runs we see maybe near the goal line because the Patriots have not been a great red zone scoring offense this season. So maybe they pull out all the stops down there for him. But I think they will be intentional with allowing him to use his legs because obviously, yeah, it's the last game of the season. You need to pull everything out of your bag for this one.
Doug, the answer to this question is often, special teams. In that, what's something under the radar, a player, a matchup, a phase that in retrospect decides this game, but we aren't talking about enough now? What would that player or matchup or phase be in your opinion?
I might say like turnover ratio in this game, just because a lot of games come down to that, and the Patriots have not been great at forcing turnovers this season. Christian Gonzalez and Carlton Davis still don't have an interception between them this year. The Patriots have been a little bit better at forcing turnovers, but once again, that's been coming against the Jets and the Dolphins. But I think everyone sees the numbers last year from Justin Herbert where he had 4 interceptions. You can't depend on that with this Patriots defense, and the Chargers defense has been amazing over the second half of the season. So I think that that's going to be a major factor in this game, and maybe they can see something on tape like they did against the Ravens where they'll be able to punch the ball out against the Chargers, but otherwise you'd like to see Gonzalez and Carlton Davis make one of those big plays at some point this season. There's no time like the present.
When you look at a matchup of this offense of it's Ladd McConkey, Quinn Johnston, who has his drops but has been good this year, Keenan Allen, a good run threat, no Marion Hampton. Yes, the Chargers have a very weak offensive line, but with the talented quarterback and the skill positions, where do you think could be their spot where they can pick on someone on this Patriots defense?
I think it's the tight end, Oronde Gadsden. If you get Robert Spillane in this game back, then your linebacker core is a little bit better, or significantly better, but he's not like the greatest coverage player, I guess I would say. And throughout this season, the Patriots have struggled at times against tight ends, and Gadsden's basically a big receiver. He's like 6'4", 6'5", 240, 250 pounds, great athleticism. So I don't hate the matchup of if you got Marcus Jones against Ladd McConkey and then Gonzalez and Davis going against, Keenan Allen and Quentin Johnson. I don't hate those matchups, but Gadsden could wind up being a mismatch no matter who's on him because Craig Woodson, he's played a ton of snaps this season. He's been solid as a rookie, but he's also given up a lot of touchdowns this season, and that's been, either being in the wrong place at the wrong time, slipping in coverage, sometimes just not being that great in man coverage. So Gadsden's definitely a player to watch for the Chargers, and obviously not as big of a name as those 3 wide receivers, but a really solid rookie this year.
All right, 2 more. We'll get you out of here. First one is not as big as the last. What is your prediction? Who wins and why?
My prediction is the Patriots win 24-21. I think it's to be a close game, but I do think the Patriots will at least be able to get out to a big lead. They are probably the Chargers are going to be able to erase that a little bit, but I think the tackles will wind up being an issue for the Chargers in this game. You've got Harold Landry, coming back after 2 weeks off. Caleb Von Chaselin's been solid this season. You've got the 2 big guys in the middle. I think they can take advantage of the offensive line enough in this game.
All right. This question is now for everyone listening who's been waiting this entire interview for us to ask you what we've asked everybody else. Is playoff football better than sex?
I'll go upstairs for this one and not be sitting next to my daughter for it.
Why? I don't get it.
It shows you're an expert at least one of those subjects.
I know, it's true. Proven sex haver, me. I guess I would say no. I mean, it's more infrequent, so I guess that makes it more special, maybe. Yeah. But ultimately, I guess I would say no.
Is Jen upstairs?
No, she's not. She's downstairs. But yeah, that might have altered my decision making as well.
Good.
That she's even in the house.
Sounds like you're about to hit the road to Gillette, which is good timing. And I will see you down there. And I appreciate you taking some time, my man.
Absolutely, anytime, guys.
Doug, appreciate the time. Doug Kyed of the Boston Herald, Pat's Chat podcast as well, does great work along with Andrew Callahan. He also is part of that answer too. What you can think about is yes, playoff football is more infrequent. How long does that feeling last of winning in playoff football? The lasting impact, right?
The whole week. I don't know. I feel like if you win a big playoff game, and granted, I have to go off of my experience 12, 13 years ago rooting for this team, that I will tell you there was a point in time, long-term girlfriend I had, we watched that divisional round game against the Ravens. We had done long distance. Whoa. So talk about, there's a lot of pressure there on not the playoff football, but sex. We're watching. They make this comeback. We had been dating, I tell you, for over 2 years.
Okay.
She goes, I have never seen you happier in my life.
And that's a judgmental observation.
That
too.
was
happy
that
for
was
you. She's
playoff
like,
football. So again, I've not answered today. I don't think I will, but I will continue to push the question.
No, that's BS. You have to answer.
To your point about, Doug used the word special, which is danger zone for me. And I'm glad he went upstairs and away from his wife, who, thank God, I'm almost positive is not listening to the station. But it's a debate, and I'm glad we're having it.
In the world of, certain people, think about it. Playoff football, the ramifications last a week, a win. Sex, it can impact the next 18 years of your life.
Well, to your point, yes, or longer. You're talking about it the water cooler Monday. You're still excited about it Tuesday.
Yeah.
Everything's a little lighter. Things are brighter. Your team just won, which when you talk about you're identifying with them, which means you feel like you won. And damn right, if you're yelling either at your TV, living in Pennsylvania, as I was 12 years ago, watching that game, or in the stadium, whereas we've already covered, if you paid more than $300 for a ticket tonight, your answer is playoff football, whether you tell me sex or not. So, look, good for you. It's such, I don't know, man. It's hard to compare because the NBA, you've got another series. Every game is a little bit longer. Unless you win a title, there's nothing that stays with you like a whole week of coming down from the previous game if they won, your team, and then looking to the next game and then what that does. It's special. Glad we're back.
Luckily, we can all share in that elation of playoff football tonight. Andrew Callahan, George Balekji, we'll get back to your calls after this break.
Boston's home for sports, 98.5. It's the Patriots, the Sox, the Revs, and you. We're Boston's home for sports. 98.5 The Sports Hub.
And now Drake May takes the snap from the shotgun. He retreats. He runs. He tosses on the go and finds Diggs open at the 30. Runs near side 25. Tried to turn the corner. Tackled across the 20-yard line. Brought down inbounds at the 17.
Is that a $500,000 catch right here? I think so. 30 yards he needed to hit 1,000.
He needed 21 before that grab. And Stefon Diggs for the Patriots has gone beyond the 1,000-yard mark. With a catch and run, Drake May on a 34-yard completion. The 7th 1,000-yard season for Stefon Diggs.
What production
in his career as a Viking, Bill, and now first-year Patriot.
Stefon Diggs, $500,000 catch. I don't know. I wonder what the performance boost is for his paycheck for playoff wins for Stefon Diggs and for Drake May.
Couldn't tell you. I'll tell you this, though.
I'll be looking it up tomorrow.
We have all offseason, talk about offseason stuff.
Mm.
His contract renegotiation, to me, pending, the outcome of his legal problems right now, which his arraignment got pushed back past the Super Bowl, which to me says as long as the Patriots are playing, so will Stefon Diggs. But the contract renegotiation is going to be fascinating because he's owed under $2 million over the last 2 years. This is guaranteed, I should say. Under $2 million guaranteed over the next 2 years. He's your number one. He's the locker room leader. He just had your first 1,000-yard season since Julian Edelman in 2019. Jeez. So he's not going to be happy with $2 million guaranteed if something goes wrong. And I think the team, because they're going to have about $50 million in cap space, which is above average, and we all, fingers crossed, hope they spend it and use it, we'll go, look, you've earned it. We're going to do this. This was kind of a flyer, weirdly structured 3-year deal that we gave you. It's got a lot of fluff coming up. Let's trade that out for some cold hard cash. But where do they find the middle ground? Because he's still 32, and you've got an overlapping skill set as probably a primary slot receiver moving forward. Pop Douglas and Ethan Chisholm. Where does that land? We'll see.
Pop Douglas, that's a guy that's lining up to get paid as well. Let's get back to the phone lines. Jason in Worcester calling in. Jason, what's better, sex or playoff football?
I got to be a contrarian, man. I got to say sex.
I love that that's the first answer of sex. All right, Jason, why?
No, it's not the first answer, though. And you're fine. I think it's close to 50-50.
I don't know. I think it's just a matter of what? Like, you're watching a football game, and it's a lot of fun. I've seen a lot of great moments, a lot of Super Bowl wins and all that, but I don't know, man. It's sex. What else can you say about it?
Jason, look, it's my job to wield words in the right way on the radio, podcast, writing. It's just sex is the best answer we've had all show. So a hat tip to you, my friend.
Why is it better to play football? It's sex. That's why. Jason, thanks for calling in, brother.
Enjoy the game.
Thank you.
Let's go back to the phone lines. Now we'll go to Luke with a conversation. Going for it on fourth down or a field goal attempt? Luke in North Attleboro.
How you doing? I'm just calling. The Jags obviously lost by 3 points. They went for it in like 5 minutes into the first quarter. It doesn't make any sense. I don't understand it.
Well, I can tell you that you're probably going to see the Patriots do this at some point here tonight because it's worked out really well for them and that they have one of the higher fourth down percentages in the entire league. I'm going to try to find out the play that you're talking about because we've not been watching and definitely not broadcasting.
I don't know.
Certain fourth downs.
Not been
not allowed.
No.
Not allowed here in the sports center.
Absolutely not.
All right, it was 4th and 2 at the Buffalo 9. So what happened there is, look, you go, if we don't get it, the Bills are backed up and have 91 yards to go to get a touchdown. The downside of this, I understand there's
and
the 3
when in the
points.
game was that?
This was second quarter, it looks like.
You know what points you need later.
Right. So to me, I don't mind that aggression. And frankly, I think Mike Vrabel will do this. And I can tell you definitively, because I've written about this a few times, it's helped them win football games. You go back to Tampa Bay, which say what you will about what the Bucs did after, which is basically fall apart and pee on themselves in their pirate hats. Like, they won that game because Stefon Diggs caught a 4th and goal at the 1-yard line touchdown pass right before halftime. And that allowed them to stay ahead as the Bucs got themselves together offensively. And yeah, you survived late with a Trayvon Henderson long touchdown. But your aggression has paid off because it's not only they've gone for it in the right places, which has pretty much been anytime it's 4th and 6 or less, and you're in plus territory, you're in, on the other side of the 50, they've been going for it. Mm-hmm. To me, it's time and location, obviously score sometimes. I don't mind it. I understand when you do lose, there is some regret, but ultimately, people get upset about this. If these are brave football men, is 6 feet supposed to scare you in the playoffs? You don't have faith that your team can punch them in the mouth and get 6 feet? Come on.
When you got a guy like Josh Allen, that's nothing for you too.
Well, and this was Jacksonville.
No, of course. It all depends on who you got that can push for that. All right, back to the phones. We got John. Sex or playoffs? John, you've turned down sex for the playoffs? Let's hear this.
Yeah, this is a true story, guys. Back in 2019, it's been a while. My wife starts getting a little close to me. Problem is that Patriots-Titans were about to kick off. I knew it was going to be Brady's last game with the Pats, probably. She got kind of close and said, "What are you thinking?" No lie, I looked at her and said, "Tom Brady." Walked out of the room, put the TV on.
John, that's amazing.
Okay, hold on.
Are you still married?
I'm still married.
Cool.
And if anything goes on tonight, I'm going to tell her Drake May.
Fair.
So you didn't even have a full sentence. You just uttered another man's name.
I said Tom Brady, he was top of mind. Loyal Pats fan, wasn't going to miss that game for anything.
And you left the room.
I left the room. Yeah, no, she. I don't know what she did after I left, but
I could guess.
I watched the Patriots.
You watched the Patriots. She joined you about 20 minutes later, John.
Exactly.
Wait. Do you have any regrets though? They lost that game. You were pretty sad after.
It was a little ice cold in the relationship for about a month after that, but I recovered, so it's all good.
So if you do this again, you're willing to risk at least a month, which to you would be fine if they make the Super Bowl, because that's how long they're going to be in the playoffs.
Yeah.
But if they lose again,
that could potentially be till March. So
that'd be 2 months, because I'm thinking right now another month leads up to Valentine's Day, where you really have to come through John, and the next time you're going to call, you're going to be single John.
Hey, sacrifices got to be made, right?
For the betterment of the Patriots and the happiness of a playoff run. Appreciate that call,
I have
John.
more text, by the way. I said I was sending this out to some former players.
Yeah.
One, I don't have any comment on that one. Sorry. He's a little bit more straight edge. And then we have the follow-up from the captain who said, okay, a conference championship win, better than sex, yes.
Yeah.
So again, a high bar, you got to win. I go, what about just watching your team? This guy only played for the Patriots. What about watching them win? He goes, hell no. And then followed up, you got to tell those fans they need better sex.
Wow.
So that is for you, John. I know you think you're making sacrifices, future single John. He's got a big Valentine's Day coming up based on his plans tonight.
Drake May better make it worth it.
He just looks her in the eye and goes, Drake May.
Walks out of the room. All right, let's get to George in Lynn. Thinks the Pats will win in a blowout tonight. What's your prediction, George?
50-0.
Boom.
50-0.
You know what'll happen if that happens?
Yeah.
A lot of sex at halftime. This is not going to be an either or. These are just going to be people on top of the world. Just absolutely, like, you think Woodstock was big. Foxborough is going to be on fire with passion left and right if it's that big of a score and that big of a lead. I like it, though. I don't see a path to a blowout. We've talked about this in all seriousness about, this team is going to play, meaning the Chargers, slow it down, physical. We want to control the line of scrimmage, the clock. I get the numbers, and I've seen their offensive line. That's their identity. They know how they want to play. The Patriots know how they want to play. The Patriots have to meet them on those battlegrounds. I think they can, and they'll win. Mm-hmm. But the combination of those two teams saying, we want to run the ball, we want to stop the run, we know we have these quarterbacks, is going to lead to a low-scoring game, which is going to mean it's more likely closer than not. And the first quarter and really first down are the battlegrounds I think are really going to swing this, which brings us back to the jumbo personnel and everything else. But it's a fascinating game because I think the Chargers are going to try to drag it somewhere. And to a degree, the Patriots have to meet them there. But if you get a big lead, the Chargers can't play the way they want to play.
You put the ball in their best player's hands in Justin Herbert, that offensive line for the Chargers, that thing's a liability.
Well, and that's how bad it is.
Yeah.
You're like, it's a good idea to put the ball in the hands of Justin Herbert, who some people would dismiss as, oh, he's 0-2 in the playoffs. Like, I'm sorry, I don't think he gave up all those points to Jacksonville years back. Okay? Yeah. And a complete collapse by the Chargers, like peak Charger ring. And he was bad in Houston, don't get me wrong. But the larger story and sample of his career is he's an excellent quarterback. And I know that especially from this year when he's been beat to hell behind that offensive line. Hit 129 times, he's still standing and carrying them to an 11-6 record. Mm-hmm. A roster that would be bottom 10 in the league without him. Mm-hmm. So that's a damn good quarterback. But still, despite that, you want the ball in his hands.
That's how bad the offensive line is. Andrew Callahan, George Balekji on 98.5 The Sports Hub. We'll get back to your phone calls after this break.
Boston's home for sports. 90. game. It all happens here. 98.5 The Sports Hub.
George Balekji, Andrew Callahan on the Sports Hub, 617-779-0985. We'll get back to your calls. AC, this has been fun. The pregame.
A lot of fun.
On the first Pats home playoff game since 2019. When Tom Brady threw a pick six, when Mike Vrabel and the Titans won in Foxborough.
Can I ask you something?
Yeah.
What are you doing for the game tonight?
Locking in turning it on like 7:30, settling down, watching from my couch, locking in. No sex, just football.
Soon to be single John approves. You get nervous before these?
This one, nerves roll in right when it kicks off. And then it's like watching the game. It's like, all right, first drive gets through, good or bad. It's just like, all right, a lot of football left. That's the key one. When I first say a lot of football left, the nerves go away, and it's like, hey, anything can happen. What about you?
So in big games like this, during the day, I'm always like, it feels like another day, which is not how I felt as a fan. And it's almost disconcerting in that, like, I should feel more. There should be more excitement. And then the kickoff comes, and I'm like, oh, my God, I have to perform to a playoff level too, because I want to be at my best.
Yes.
For anyone taking the time to listen, to read, what is this game about? My job is to have insight. If I don't deliver that, I screwed up. Because there's also an element of just we haven't seen this before, right? Like, we've all seen playoff games, but that opponent and that time and that situation. And now, especially since it's been, as we said several times, the last playoff home game was 7 years ago. The last playoff game, 6 years ago. The last one they won was 7. And the last one they played overall anywhere was 4. I'm starting to get it a little bit now. You know what I mean? Like, I'm going to need some chill music going down to the stadium, and it's going to be great, but it's just funny how there's kind of this secondhand nerves where we have nothing at stake. I'll wake up tomorrow. My paycheck is going to be the same. My work schedule is going to be a little different, I guess, depending, but it's not a reflection on me. And I don't know. There are not many things in your life that will give you those type of feelings. Forget this is better than sex, according to some folks. Just the excitement, the nerves, the togetherness, and then the sudden, I can't control anything that happens over the next 3 hours, but it's going to absolutely alter how I feel over the next days, weeks, or my work life.
No lie, I looked at her and said, Tom Brady, walked out of the room, put the TV on.
People are going to do that, but they're going to say Drake May instead. And they're going to hope they're saying it the following week. We've previewed it all. We broke it down. What's your score prediction?
Patriots are going to strike early.
Okay.
And then the Chargers are going to do what the Chargers do, which is chew some clock, chew you up, and get some touchdowns. And I think the Patriots are going to need to come back in the fourth quarter, but they get it. This is 23-21.
Okay.
Low scoring. This game might be under 3 hours, the way that both of these teams are going to play. And again, I just can't stress enough. It's early downs. It's the first quarter is going to say a lot about this game, and especially when they're in jumbo. Can the Patriots get the Chargers defense that wants to play light, wants to play too high, to play left-handed, or if they can't run the ball with those 6 offensive lineman groupings, you're in trouble. And I say that as a Drake May believer who has been in the second car behind our conductor, Phil Perry, thought he was the best quarterback in the draft a couple years ago. Couldn't get there. But I said this is going to be a star. May will do enough, but for this playoff run to sustain, including starting tonight, they need to run the football.
They just can't get away from what got them here. Dance with who brought you here.
Well, and
that's
especially
the
the
run
last 4
game.
games.
Yes.
Again, you go from the third worst run game, entering your bye week, to bowling over the Bills for 240 yards. The Dolphins for over 230. You get a game-winning touchdown in Baltimore along Ramondre Stevenson run, and the Jets are the Jets. Like, the offensive balance gives you a plan B that you need in the playoffs, a safety net, and to keep defenses a little more off balance. And, like, look, as good as Drake May's been, if we can take away Stefon Diggs and Kayshon Boutte's out, it's a different ballgame if you can't run the ball. If you can't run the ball, you've got more options.
I'm interested in if Kayshon Boutte plays. I think he's going to have a huge impact whether he's on the field or not. That's Drake May's guy. Yes, he's down the field as a deep ball receiver. You pointed out how good their connection has been. But also, when the field gets shorter, like when they're inside the opponent's 30, 25, 20, when they get in the red zone, Kayshon Boutte knows where to go. He knows where the ball is going to be, and he's reliable. And that's what you need in the playoffs. Who's going to be their guy outside of a Stefon Diggs? This Chargers defense has it. Ask this too. If they win tonight or if they lose, let's go with this. If the Patriots lose, is this season a failure?
No. You're going to hear that on the station, let's be clear.
Yeah.
And when you hear it, turn it off or come back in a little bit. Don't go away for too long.
Okay.
But look, it's going to be disappointing. The way I would describe it is this. Like, it's more of a breakup and you're on to a new relationship, but you appreciate what you had with this season. Like, you got to learn. You got to develop. You found out something better about yourselves. Everyone will go to the gym in the offseason. You come back, you lost a little weight, you look better, and you're trying to find a season that you can hold on to. There will be disappointment there. But in a good relationship that ends for whatever reason, you look back and go, yeah, that was worth it. This wasn't a failure. It's just odds are, whatever relationship you're in, when you're dating, you're going to break up. But some you feel about better than others. Okay, this season has exceeded our wildest dreams for Drake May, for Mike Vrabel, for the future of the franchise. You hit on all of your free agents. You have several starters from the draft already right now, and you're hosting your first playoff game in 6 years.
Yeah.
Mike Vrabel said it. We want to win the division, host playoff games, compete for championships.
Mm-hmm.
You are already competing for championships just by being here. To hit all of those goals in year one, I get it'll be disappointing. It'll suck. It'll blow. But once you have some time pass and the sting fades away, you look back and be like, I really enjoyed my time with them. That was a fun season. On to the next.
Nice way to put it. I don't want anyone to turn this station off. It's a failure if they lose because they beaten Baker Mayfield and Josh Allen once. And that's it. They're about to face Justin Herbert and the Chargers. If they go 14 wins and get bounced in the first round, you know what that is? That's Chargers-esque. And I'm going back to their San Diego days. This is a team that has exceeded all expectations. I thought I was showing some moxie by picking them to win 10 games before the season. They got to 14. They're division winners. They're the 2 seed, all of this. But it does when you look back on that schedule, Andrew. Quinn Ewers, Brady Cook, Tyler Huntley, basically, Jackson Dart, Joe Flacco, Justin Fields, Baker Mayfield, they beat him. He's a really good quarterback. Dylan Gabriel, Cam Ward, Spencer. It was a cupcake of a run when it comes to the opposing quarterbacks they've faced. And when you have those cupcake runs and that layout, you need to prove yourselves. It's a bad offensive line, but it's Justin Herbert. It's Jim Harbaugh. It's a home playoff game. You need to win to show you're legit. Instead of just being a regular season darling and not pulling through when the lights get brightest.
If you think they're not as good because they played a soft schedule, which was out of their control, by the way, then you shouldn't expect them to win as handedly tonight because they're not as good as the record would indicate. And what I would say is the schedule point, 2 things. Number one is the ink is dry on the regular season. It's behind us. There's nothing that's going to change that. This game is its own game. And what it means will be in a vacuum separate from what's already happened. Number 2 is the schedule informs to me why they're 14-3 because you won so many of those games against bad quarterbacks. But the schedule does not tell me, does not dictate why they're good. They're good because of the football they played on the football field. They're good because of their tape. They're good because of Drake May. They're good because of Mike Vrabel. Whether they won 11 games, which would more accurately reflect the talent on the roster, doesn't matter to me. That's a good team, the New England Patriots right now. That's why they're hosting playoff games. So the schedule stuff is just immaterial to me right now. I get that you might look back a little bit differently on this schedule. To me, I wouldn't. It's hard to win all of your games, even against the cupcakes. But the teams that they lost to are good teams. I would rather do that than lose, like every other team in the playoffs has, 2 bad teams at some point or another. The Patriots never did that. That's not a bad thing.
The schedule, the ink is dry, you're right. The ink is dry on who they faced, and it goes along with those defenses, too. Facing the Jets after they sell at the deadline, they have a bunch of Joe Schmoes at cornerback. They're getting rid of their best players.
Yeah, I mean, the schedule was historically easy. The Jets suck. The Dolphins suck. We agree. My point is the Patriots do not suck. They're good. If they lose tonight, it doesn't mean they suck. It means they're a good team that had a bad night.
They're good. They have a guy that's going to be a great quarterback. I want to see them prove themselves to be a great team by winning in the playoffs. And that's where I stand of, this is not an utter success if they get bounced in the first round.
So
they lay down the foundation and they have the pieces, the part of their recipe for success to cook up a great meal.
So what you're saying is if they're a good team, it's not a success. A team that was 4-13 last year, 4-13 last year, the bar here is not good. It's great for a team that we didn't think would win 8 or 9 games.
Because I don't want this to be a fluke, and I want them to prove it on a big stage. And this is a big test.
Look, to know where you are, you need to understand where you've been. Where this team has been is 4-13, 4-13, 8-9. To expect them to be great, anyone who expected that at the beginning of the season is ridiculous because it's completely ignorant to what's happened. What's happened has been favorable, yes. They've gotten a lot of breaks with the schedule. That is what it is. But what they've done with that, what they've been handed, because they didn't choose that. They didn't choose an easy schedule, is win a lot of football games. Drake May developing as a franchise quarterback, Mike Vrabel being the coach that he is, that's a development. That is a step towards being great. They might be great. They'd have to win more games, I agree. But they're good right now. That, to me, is a success.
What will lead to them being successful tonight? We'll get to that right after the break and take you guys to 5 o'clock and pregame. Andrew Callahan, George Balekji on the Sports Hub.
I get it'll be disappointing. It'll suck. It'll blow. But once you have some time pass and the sting fades away, you look back and be like, I really enjoyed my time with them. That was a fun season. On to the next.
Nice way to put it.
Boston's home for sport.
George Balekji, Andrew Callahan. We'll take you guys right up to 5 p.m. Pregame, Beetle, and Chris Gasper. The pregame to the pregame about to end. We'll get out with some score predictions, MVPs, but let's get back to the phones one more time. Let's go to Rich calling from Plymouth. Rich, sex or playoffs, my man?
All right, so if you got a real one, first of all, she's going to know that it's the playoffs. And so at my house, she stays up in the bedroom. I stay downstairs because we're superstitious. She only comes out when she needs to eat or when we're going to celebrate something. But if she happens to be in the mood, then she's going to let it be, and she's going to wait for that game to be over. And if we win, it's on. And if we don't, she knows to leave me alone. So, boys, the answer is both.
That was...
There were some problematic parts of that call, starting with it sounds like his wife is a rabbit in a cage, so she's only allowed to come out when it's time to eat.
Yeah.
But, look, if our guy's happy and it works for him and his wife, his partner, whatever's going on there.
And they're happy together.
God bless. But that is... That to him is a real one. That is... That sounds more like fantasy for guys sitting in row 26, section 305.
Yeah. It's
way
like,
up at the top.
You go wait. Let me wait for this game to end. Oh, they won. I'm coming up to get what
Unless you need a snack, stay upstairs.
Where are the Michelobes? Let's go to Mike. He says he has a better analogy for what the disappointment could be if the season ends tonight. What's up, Mike?
Hey, guys. Hey, good show, guys.
Thanks.
Listen, you can't do the relationship thing with the breakup side. You know, I'm listening to you and I'm thinking it's more like meeting a supermodel at a party, right? Your expectations are high. You don't know where it's going to go. You give it a shot. You get it deep into the conversation. Things are looking good. You ask her for a date. Gives you a first date. Doesn't give you a second one. Is it lost? No. You get to spend some time with a beautiful woman, and you take it for what it is. No hard feelings. Everything's cool. The playoff and sex thing. I was thinking, for me, Brady was lust. Drake May's more of love, and sex is just sex. So.
I cannot believe where
These
that
calls
went.
are incredible. First of all, I stand corrected. You're absolutely right.
How can you say Brady is lust? That is the love of your life.
Right, I was madly in love with Tom Brady.
Like, nothing will ever top that.
Right, I was in love with Bledsoe, and a forever Bledsoe guy. To the caller calling in early, want to give Belichick his flowers, but no, I ended up falling madly in love with Tom Brady.
I will say, as a lifelong Patriots fan, the only person responsible for more happiness in my life than Tom Brady is my mother. Now, also my wife. But that's what
Good save.
Lust for Tom Brady is asinine. But love that call. That was electric.
Brady is lust. May is love. Sex is sex.
I don't even know what that
man's
means.
a philosopher. And he doesn't even know it.
AC.
But he's at parties meeting supermodels. We should have kept him on the line.
You know what?
Not for you and I, to be clear.
Him saying you ask for a first date and you get it, that kind of brings me to, okay, it's a win if you just get to the playoffs and dance and get that experience, whether you win or lose.
Yeah, his analogy was fair.
Long, dragged out. Okay. We got 5 minutes left. You gave your score prediction earlier. People just tuning in, pulling into the lots, cracking open the cold ones, listening to us, the pregame to the pregame. What's your score prediction tonight? Who's your MVP, Andrew?
Well, I had 23-21, and I think you're going to have Ramondre Stevenson break another one at a jumbo personnel, flip a tackle. He's going to be the MVP. But we have one more call. Callahan in the car feels very differently about this.
Oh. Hey, Callahan calling from the car. What's up, brother?
23-21. What the hell are you smoking? This is going to be 40-0. Justin Herbert, Justin Sherbert, Mike Vrabel is going to scoop you. He's going to put you down, top you with a bunch of sprinkles. Harold Landry, Milt Williams, Christian Barmore, all on top of you. And when you get up, you're going to have your other hand broken, and that's too bad. I'm not wishing this upon you. It's just going to happen. But so long as you can wave goodbye with that hand, you'll be fine to your season, to your khaki-wearing, milk-sipping, mother-bleeping coach. Goodbye. And you can wave to the Patriots as they go on to the divisional round. And here come the Texans, because we know Aaron Rodgers doesn't have any more four-leaf clovers to pull out when the other team is, doing a game-winning kick that should have gone through. Point is, 40-0. Sherbert sucks. Ice cream forever. Drake May, infinity. That man is lust, love, and life. All in one.
Love that from Callahan in the car. I got 20-13, and this is going to be so chalky, but Drake May has to be the MVP in this game. It's going to be some key fourth down conversions late in the game. It's going to be some key big-time throws made to get him on the scoreboard. Dance with who brought you here. It's going to be the run game setting him up, but it's Drake May who steps up when his team needs him most. And with two teams that are going to run the ball, they're going to make it ugly. 20-13, I give the advantage. 32 degrees at kickoff. No snow, but it's going to be cold for a dome team. Patriots have the advantage in this one.
So I'm working tonight. Going to go down, sit in the press box, way high up there. Very sterile, sanitized, unsexy place, the press box, which has nothing to do with a bunch of poorly dressed men. What are you doing tonight? Where's the wife going to be? Since we've had so many callers lay out their game plans.
So this is another reason why she's the love of my life. Just this morning, she goes, by the way, I'm getting dinner with so-and-so in Peabody. And I go, great. I go, what time's the reservation? 7:30. Perfect. Won't get home until halftime, maybe later. And what happens after that with a playoff win? Who knows, Andrew? Your answer, though, sex or playoff win? What's better? You can't ask a question and not give an answer, brother.
I'm going to quote what I thought was the best call, but that was an hour ago, and everything has changed so much since. Sex is just sex. It's just sex. Keep it simple.
Playoff wins, that lasts forever.
That part of my life is just so far gone. And honestly, I miss it. Like losing my mind at home over a playoff win, and still root for the Red Sox like a maniac. Go Huskies, as well with UConn. But I don't know, man. Like there's playoff football, and the only thing that can match it is Game 7 in the NHL. And I just don't feel that strongly about hockey, so I miss it. But no, sex is the answer. To put it as a former Patriots captain texted me. You got to tell them they need better sex. So to all of our dedicated fans and callers, we appreciate the time. Unbelievable. We had some bars dropped here tonight.
I think sex is the best one out of all of them. Sex is sex.
Print the T-shirts.
Tom Brady, that was lust. Drake May, that's love. You know what's going to change? If they win tonight, it's been a long time since a playoff game. It's been a long time since a home Patriots playoff game.
It's going to be a great night, man.
I'm going to text you tomorrow, and I'm either going to say playoff football or I'm going to say sex of what's better, Andrew. He's Andrew Callahan. I'm George Balekji. People's champ, George Sepulveda behind the glass. Thank you so much to everyone that called in. This was the pregame to the pregame. We got Beetle and Chris Gasper coming up, 5 p.m. They'll take you all the way to kickoff. You know how it is. Bob Sosi, Scott Zolak with the call. Patriots-Chargers. Kickoff at 8:15. Gillette Stadium. Playoff football's back, baby. Nothing better. For Andrew Callahan, George Balekji, thanks so much, guys. We'll see you next time.
It's been a while. My wife starts getting a little